Calgary sky is clear at the moment. Temperature is minus 26 degrees. The wind out of the south at 20, giving a high wind chill factor of 1960 watts per square meter. That means exposed flesh will freeze in about 3 minutes. The barometer is falling from 102.6. Forecast for the Calgary area for the next 2 hours, increasing cloud with a possibility of temperatures rising to minus 20 near midnight. But really no change in sight. We are not anticipating any warm weather for at least the next 2 or 3 days.
The words of Don Wood, the meteorologist at the Calgary International Airport. And on that note, welcome to McMahon Stadium, where we will have a football game, and a very important football game it is, between the Calgary Dinosaurs and the Carleton Ravens, the winner to get a berth in the Vanier Cup in Toronto next Saturday. The weather obviously a factor. Tuffy night, who is it affected the most?
Well, I think it'll favor Calgary because Calgary's a bigger football team that plays a lot of power. Carleton Ravens is more of a finesse football team that relies on quickness. And in this kind of weather, I think your power will overweigh your quickness and finesse. And Michael may disagree with that.
Well, Tuffy, football is a game of familiarity. And consider that Carleton, when they run the ball, play the triple option. When they pass it, they play a run-and-shoot style offense. So the Calgary Dinosaurs haven't seen any of that this season. So unfamiliarity could play a big factor today as the Dinosaurs take on the Carleton Ravens. We know the weather will play a factor, and we'll be back right after this to see what that will mean to the players and the hands of the announcers. That's right after this.
Chilly Willy the penguin. No wonder I'm so chilly all the time. The wintry breezes blow and 0 is below, and that's why I'm so chilly all the time. Poor me, I shiver and I shake. Poor me, oh my, for goodness sake, I'm chilly Willy.
Well, it's cold enough for the penguins here, but we don't have penguins. We have ravens instead, and we have dinosaurs. And they are going to play a football game at McMahon Stadium regardless of the weather. But it is cold, and Dale Butterwick, the athletic therapist for the University of Calgary, joins us now to talk a little bit, Dale, about the effect of playing in weather like this.
Well, we have to be careful about all exposed skin areas, and I think that's our primary concern. Hypothermia is not really that prominent in our minds because we're well dressed, but any exposed flesh can freeze reasonably soon, so we have to watch that. We also have to make sure that we hydrate them, that they take enough fluids in. Dehydration is a common problem in cold weather. And at halftime, we've extended the halftime 5 extra minutes so that the players can change and get all their wet, damp clothes off and start the second half dry again. I think we're quite well prepared, despite the fact that it's going to be uncomfortable.
The starting lineups for the Carleton University Ravens on offense. At right tackle, number 57, Ron Wilson. At right guard, number 66, John Oresti. The starting center tonight, number 44, Kerry McCowell. At left guard, number 62, Kevin McCarroll. At left tackle, number 55, Joe McDonald. At wide receiver, number 2, Mustafa Ali. At slot back, number 73, Mark Wilson. At running back, number 33, Clark Oliver.
Well, while the players are being introduced here, it's a pleasure to talk to a few people who have been brave enough to brave the elements. Why are you here, though, ladies?
We were invited from some friends.
I ask again, why are you here? I mean, this game is on television. You could watch it at home or something like that, but this is crazy.
Well, it's a semi-final. We have to cheer them on. We have to have the stamped dinosaurs go to the Vanier Cup.
Will you go to Toronto next week if they win this one?
No. Well, I would like to. It's a lot warmer there.
Yeah, it is.
Who's going to win tonight?
Calgary.
Dinosaurs.
Of course.
You're sure now?
We're sure.
Okay, well, I think as long as we can all get out of here alive, we'll all be winners at this point. All right, Michael and Tuffy, back upstairs.
Tuffy, I doubt very much whether you have played in weather this cold, but when it's close to this cold and you're in your locker room and you're talking to your players and their hands are cold and they look freezing cold, what do you tell them?
Well, you have to tell them that you have to go out and play the football game no matter what, and both teams were playing under the same conditions. And there's no sense telling them that it isn't cold because you can't get them. It's cold. But you have to play and and the main thing is say you forget about the weather and go out there and execute. And don't turn the ball over, because I think turnovers will decide the game this evening.
Let's talk about physically what this means to the game and the ball itself. When the ball gets hard and frozen, how does that change what you can do with it?
Well, I think that their hands can be warm and their body's warm, but the leather on that ball will not stay warm. Now they've got a drum down there that they're trying to keep some balls in to try to keep the ball reasonably warm. But I'd say you bring that ball out, and within 3 or 4 minutes, the leather on the ball is going to be extremely hard, and you don't have a feel. And to catch the football, you have to feel it. You have to look it into your hands, but you have to feel it. Same with kicking the ball. You have to feel that ball hit your foot. And this is very, very tough to do that.
Well, you can see the officials, and they will feel the cold as well. They don't have to touch the ball, but it's going to be hard on anybody today. It is a bitterly cold day for the Western Bowl. A lot at stake. It's, as Tuffy said, the thing to do is put it out of your mind, but that's easier said than done. And you see kind of a sweeping view of the stadium. Not a large crowd, and that's kind of unfortunate because they expected more than 10,000 last week for the Western Championship game. They had about 8,500 people. So considering the magnitude of this game, they would have had more. But it is bitterly cold, as we've mentioned, minus 26 degrees Celsius. As you look at the Carleton Ravens, Ontario Quebec champions, and those, the Calgary Dinosaurs, winners of the Western Intercollegiate Football League. The winner today goes to the Vanier Cup next week. And Tuff, you say that the weather favors Calgary.
Well, I think it does. I think the weather favors Calgary because they're more of a power football team, as I said earlier. And in a weather like this, they don't do a lot of pitches. It's more handoff. And with the triple option, you're pitching that ball out there to the trailing backs and this sort of thing. There's a lot of ball handling involved in a triple option. And this kind of weather, like I said, the ball will get cold. The leather on the ball will get cold. And then you have no feel for it. And if you can't feel the ball, it's difficult to catch it and hold on to it.
Well, these Dinosaurs are well represented in the Calgary area. All but one high school in Calgary is represented on this team. 85% of the players come from the Calgary area, but the vast majority of the players went to St. Francis High School. And 2 of them played on the 1983 championship team in Calgary in the backfield, Elio Jeremiah and Tony Spallettini. And I talked to the coach, Mr. DeMann, at that high school, and I asked him who the best player he ever coached was, and he said, very tough to say, because he coached the Forzanis, and he coached Jeremiah and Spallettini and Marjanovic, a lot of great ones. So they are well represented here today. It will be the Carleton Ravens that will kick it off. They occupy the left side of your screen. To the right side, those are the returners for the Calgary Dinosaurs. Number 25, Elio Jeremiah. He is an outstanding running back, also a good kick returner, and number 32, Darcy Kopp, an all-star defensive back. So they likely will handle the ball first, and handling the ball today, Tuffy, will be easier said than done.
Well, as I said, I think turnovers will play a major part in it. These teams are fairly evenly matched, and the team that can eliminate the turnovers will win the football game. And it's a shame that that you couldn't say this is a bright sunny day and the best team's going, or the better team is going to win. Here, turnovers will play a major factor.
So we are just seconds away from the opening kickoff. This is the Western Bowl. It's the Calgary Dinosaurs home to the Carleton Ravens. The winner goes on to the Vanier Cup. 2 good football teams, and if you're, by what Tuffy said, figuring that Calgary will go on to win because they do have a tradition of winning, making it to the championship game last year and winning the Vanier Cup the year before. Consider this. Carleton has lost just 2 games out of 11 starts this year by a total of 3 points, both to the Queens Golden Gales. So they were 3 points away from an undefeated season. That's Jeff Morris getting set to kick it off. Morris will tee it up at the 45, and he hits it deep to Darcy Kopp. And Kopp lets it go to Jeremiah. He'll bring it out. And Jeremiah takes it out over the 15, out to the 19-yard line. Elio Jeremiah bringing it out. That's where the Calgary Dinosaurs will scrimmage the ball. They are a well-balanced team, but most coaches will tell you to beat the Calgary Dinosaurs, you have to stop them from running the ball successfully early on. Let's check out that offense for the Dinosaurs. The quarterback, Lou Lorick, last year a nominee for the Heck Crichton Trophy. This year, an off-and-on season. Hot and cold, if you'll pardon the pun for today. The running backs, Elio Jeremiah, maybe the best in the country. 4 good receivers, Guy, Beck, Halstead, and Sharoshka. And that's where they'll start it, the 20-yard line. Lou Lorick, the quarterback, Spallettini, the fullback, and it's Spallettini up the middle, and nothing at all for Spallettini.
Well, you figured they were going to start out that way, and I would be a little concerned about the slipperiness of the field, Michael. This carpet is nice right now because they've swept it and they've kind of loosened up the nap on it. But as they play, the nap will be kind of pressed down, and then it will start to get slick, I believe, before the game is over.
That was Lorick you were looking at. You see him warming his hands. Let's see how well he did in that area. And Lorick evades 4 tackles, but it was the 5th one that brought him down. He took it out to the 25. He'll be well short of the first down, but there is a penalty marker on the field, and that one likely some kind of blocking infraction.
Right, it's just Lorick sprints out. He's got all kind of time. They don't contain very well, and they may be coached this way to kind of let Lorick run because he's not a great runner. But here you'll see the conditions. See, they're missing tackles and things like that, Michael. They just don't have the agility and stuff on this field to really execute and play a decent football game. It's just going to be very tough because they slip and slide, and they look like kind of robots out there because more than likely these guys have 3 or 4 sets of shirts on.
Well, as we were watching the replay, what you missed was the Carleton defense coming off the field as Matic gets set to kick it. They came off swarming all over each other, slapping hands. They're ready to play football, and they'll get the hands on the football for the first time. Back deep, a couple of pretty good returners, Benvenuti and Frank Bastianelli. The ball blocked by Carleton. Carleton will get great field position. The ball out at the 15-yard line, so if the defense did its job, the specialty team does even better.
Well, that was there's the first break of the game. The guy came through really clean on this and blocked the ball and gave him excellent field position.
Okay, let's set that offense for you as you watch the replay. The ball blocked there by number 15, Dave Dawson, a defensive back, as they bring him out. Paulo Hollins, the quarterback. And, well, he started his first game and threw 4 touchdown passes in the first playoff game. 2 great running backs, Oliver and Brown. The receivers, Benvenuti, Wilson, Barnaby, and Ali. They are missing John Dolly, who caught 48 on the season. And they pitched the ball outside to Mark Brown. And Brown brought down neatly. He has great speed, but so did the linebacker on that side, number 51, Wade Buteau.
Yeah, he played it extremely well. There, Brown had a step on him. It looked like the play was going to work. That was the triple option, and that was the 3rd option on the triple option. And he had a step on him, and under normal conditions, Brown might have outrun the linebacker because he does have a little more speed than the linebacker. But he couldn't really kick her in gear at full speed, and Buteau was able to haul him down from behind for a 2-yard loss.
Calgary defense challenged early on. The ball scrimmage from the 15, loss of 2. It'll be 2nd and 13 for Hollins. He looked into the end zone to Joe Barnaby. He was well covered, and he had no time to look for a secondary receiver.
Well, here we are. He comes back. He's got time to throw there, see? He's got time, but there's nobody open. There it is again, see? He just didn't have the good footwork because the ground is not going to give him that tonight. He's going to have to throw the ball if he throws it much quicker on the shorter stuff because the receivers aren't going to be able to go down and run any deep patterns because of the footing. I think it's going to get worse as the evening goes along.
Mark Wilson will pin it at the 25. Jeff Morris, the straight-on kicker, and Wilson drops the ball. And a little bit of deja vu. In 1975, they held the Grey Cup game here. It was a bitterly cold day. And you may remember that Jimmy Jones couldn't hold the ball, Don Sweet couldn't kick the ball, and they lost it. A cold day in Calgary. A couple of turnovers early on, and that may be what we see for the rest of the game. No score from McMahon Field in Calgary. Well, unfortunately, it is so cold that they are not going to stop to allow us to do our commercials. We have to do the business, so we'll keep you posted as to what you miss. Hopefully it won't be much. Elio Jeremiah ran the ball there for 12 yards. So Calgary kind of dodges the bullet early on. The big turnover, And they now come up with a first down, and Carleton will be charged with offside, but they made a cut at Jeremiah to the outside. And he has another first down. And if, in fact, it was offside against Carleton, Tuffy, Calgary starting to establish that ground game.
Well, it was the right defensive end jumped off sides for Carleton. And, you know, Michael, I think we've already seen the early part of the game, 4 minutes, and we're seeing power football, and this is what you're going to have to play with. Jeremiah runs out there, the guards pull, gets outside, you know, picks up about, looks like about 6-7 yards on the play.
Well,
I guess it's more than that. Looks like it's another first down.
It is. He got 12 on the play, so another first down, 25 quick yards for Jeremiah. If you talk to coaches around the West, and I'll tell you, the key to stopping Jeremiah, as much as anything else, is stopping Spallettini, his lead blocker. If you let him get out in front and do his job, he'll hurt you. Lou Lorick with the ball at the 48-yard line. Dinosaurs early on in the first quarter. That time, Jeremiah up the middle again. And Jeremiah within inches of breaking it, and 3 straight times, Tuff, he's got a first down.
It goes back again to power football. That's just straight power, relying on their side. It's just a straight handoff. Right there we are. Watch it. Just straight ahead blocking. He comes up here, finds the seam, hits up there. There's a missed tackle by the safety, and you're going to have some of those. You're going to have some of those because those guys are really kind of, their body's cold, and you just don't lay the lick on them like you normally would.
Laura gives it to Spallettini, and a good defensive play there by one of the interior linemen. So they go away from Jeremiah, and they go away from their success.
Well, he's run the ball 3 times there and had, 3 first downs. But I think Spallettini is a power type back. This is his kind of weather and his kind of game, you know.
So Lorick now faced with a 2nd down and 12 situation, an obvious passing one, not something you want when it's minus 26 degrees Celsius. Let's see what kind of grip he gets on the ball. Carleton with the blitz. Well, the grip of the quarterback, Lorick, was fine. The grip of his receiver wasn't particularly good. That was Randy Beck. But Tuff, he was likely short of the first down. But I guess this has to be somewhat of a success for Calgary. They've moved the ball and now have field position on their side.
No question about it. They started, on their own 28-yard line, and now they have the ball around the 52-yard line, so they're going to have field position. And Carleton had field position a while ago and couldn't take advantage of it. They just could not, and they bobbled a snap on the field goal, and that's what's going to happen. You're not going to see a team that's going to be able to display their true talents tonight.
Keep in mind, last time out, Maddock had the punt blocked. This time he gets it away. It's a wobbler, but it'll push Carleton deep. He gets a good bounce. So Carleton forced to start deep. Last time they scrimmaged the ball from the 15. They could get no points, but that was the Calgary 15, that is. This time they are at their own 19. That was Braden attempting the return, but really not very much there. So Carleton now forced to start pretty deep, Tuff.
Yeah, they've got the ball now in bad field position, and like I say, a turnover. What they need right now, they need a couple first downs. Otherwise, they're going to get the ball to Calgary in awful good field position.
That's Paul Hollins, the quarterback. He was the number 2 quarterback for most of the season, but number 1, Cam Collins, was hurt, and he's played well since then. Brown up the middle, and you see the quick little moves of Brown, and he didn't appear to be hampered by the field that time.
No, he had good quickness there, and like I said, he's got real quick feet. He hits in there real well. Watch this on the replay there. See, there's a trap right there by number 59. I think it was 59 or 57 for Carleton Wilson. And he had a good trap play there. Now, that's the kind of plays that Calgary's going to have to rely on, because I don't think that you're going to be able to, like you say, run a lot of finesse stuff.
Hollins now with a 2nd down and 2. It's Oliver and Brown in the backfield. That's Oliver, and Oliver will drive for the first down, but he won't make it. The Calgary defense so big along the defensive line. Wade Butel, one of the linebackers, coming in to make the stop, and it looks as though Carleton will be about a half-yard short.
Yeah, I'd say, Michael, about at least a foot short. They had to get to the 30-yard line, and the ball's resting just about on the 29.5. This is a touchy thing for, here we are right there, it's just straight ahead power there to the fullback. That's Skidmore. So he's running too high there. You got to drop that head and shoulder a little more. He ran so high, you let them get to him. Now, he does give you a good second effort.
Okay, Tuff, here's the situation now. 3rd down and about a half-yard to go. It is a full half-yard. So the Carleton Ravens with the first gamble of the game on their own 29, and the gamble pays off. Never in doubt to the right side.
They had to go for that. You have to go for that with the field conditions and weather. Here we go. This is a handoff to the fullback. This is a tricky play. I'm surprised they ran that play right there. It's a handoff there to Oliver. They're good power runner. He's a halfback that alternates with Brown, but he's a little bigger and runs with a little more power. I thought they would run a quarterback sneak there.
So it pays off for Ace Powell, and he had to be concerned with that. The ball deep in his own territory, but he went for it. And as you see, Paulo Hollins now with a pitch to Mark Brown, and Brown stopped in the backfield. That was Bruno Jeremiah coming up from his inside safety position, and he is one of the strongest players against the run. He has 3 quarterback sacks, and he's second on the team in that department.
Well, what's here is he keys it very well. Watch him come up right now. He reads it. He reads run instantly and comes up and forces the play. Well, was going to force it back to the inside, but makes the tackle. That's real good reading. He read the run right away.
And if you're wondering, the answer is yes. That is the brother of Elio Jeremiah, the great running back. Hollins now, 2nd down and 12. His first pass, and a good one. A timing pattern to Joe Barnaby, the pass complete. And Barnaby simply went down and broke in front of Bodker.
Watch, here it is. It's an excellent throw for these field canadians. Look at good footwork, delivers the ball, really gets his shoulders turned around, delivers the ball. Excellent catch here. Look at that. You know, these feet slipping. It's going to get slippery. And that's just an outstanding catch there.
We'll have to watch early on how successful Carleton is passing the ball, because they are missing their best wide receiver in John Dolly. He caught 48 during the season, but last week in the OQ championship game, he was hurt. Inside handoff, and again that big and strong Calgary defensive line shuts it down. That was Mark Skidmore, who became a hero very quickly last week. Made his first start, gained 150 yards and 4 touchdowns, and got to respect anyone who can come out tonight.
Oh, you got to have some character. You got to have some character to be out here tonight. You know, they may make the Guinness Book World Records here, because this may be the coldest weather a football game has ever played in.
If you're just joining us, we're glad you're with us. We're glad you're at home and you're not out here. It is not a pleasant night at McMahon. And Hollins right on the money again. Joe Barnaby.
Well, that was the run and shoot, first kind of the basic play on the run and shoot. Now, this is not a very pretty pass. Watch, he doesn't have very good grip on the ball. Watch, it's a wobbler. I mean a wobbler. Look at it. But it's in there, right in the seam between the linebackers and the cornerback, and it was a well-placed ball. Hollins he's thrown the ball twice and thrown the thing extremely well.
The strongest part of this Calgary defense, probably the line. The weakest part, maybe the quarterbacks, and that's where Carleton's gone quickly, and they go back to Barnaby, and that time, no reception.
Yeah, the pass was thrown behind him. Barnaby tried to adjust to the pass, but the ball was thrown behind him. Here we are, watch, the ball is thrown behind him. It's tough. He slips a little bit as he throws it. See, the pass is thrown behind him, and he tries to go back and catch it. Not able to make that adjustment. On a dry day, he might have done it.
Dexton Blackstock, the cornerback on that play, and he was laying well off the ball. So a couple of pass completions in front of him, and he's deciding to sit back. 2nd down and 10 now for Paulo Hollins. And they're going to run it. This is the option. And Hollins breaks a couple of tackles, but not enough.
He ran that play. That was a counter option there, Michael, and he ran the play well. You know, he picks up 7 yards on the play, but the thing that killed him is the first down. They got nothing on the first down, but this is a good drive for Calgary. They took it on their own 19, and they had the ball now out to the about the 40-yard line. So that was an outstanding drive for Carleton. This is the part of the game that scares you to death, though, is in the kicking game, because of the field conditions and the weather. We saw that on the field goal try by Carleton.
This time it's an excellent kick by Jeff Morris, and it pushes Darcy Kopp into his end zone, and he will get out just to the 4-yard line. So very much field position now on the side of Carleton. And if you're a dinosaur fan, you better hope that history won't repeat itself. The last time it was this cold, the dinosaurs became extinct. Dinosaurs will scrimmage the ball from their 3-yard line, Tuffy, and what does that mean to the offense?
Well, Carleton has them down there now, deep in their territory, and have field position. And now you have to hold on to the football and don't turn it over. And the same applies now to Calgary that was Carleton. They have to move the ball out of there.
The Dinosaurs were 6-2. As you look at their coach, Peter Kennellan, were 6-2 on the regular season. They won their one playoff game against Manitoba. It was a blowout. And they now have a tradition of winning football games here in Calgary. They haven't lost in a long time. We'll talk about that in a moment. That's Lou Lorick, their quarterback. Spallettini and Jeremiah. That's Elio Jeremiah. And Jeremiah finds some running room up the middle, as he has most time he's carried the ball.
Well, he's out to the 11-yard line, which makes it second down about 2, Michael. And like I said, that's straight power football. Watch this. Just straight ahead, brute strength and power, see? And he hits a seam again. And that's where I think they might be able to wear Carleton down, because they are so much bigger.
So Lorick now faced with a 2nd down and 3. As you see Jeremiah carrying the bulk of the work, we can expect to continue to see that. That's Jeremiah again. And Jeremiah reads his blocking perfectly out over the 25 to the 27. And he seems to do that so well, Tuffy. He just finds the hole.
All right, here we are. What's Spallettini's block here? Well, we're not going to see Jeremiah. Spallettini kicks out right there. He kicks out there, number 37. That's Spallettini. Kicked out there on the outside linebacker for Carleton. And here we are. We're going to see it now. Watch this excellent block there with Spallettini. That's the play right there. He blocks out there on number 24,
Frank
Bastianelli for Carleton, and it's a great play, but the block for Spallettini is the one who did that. They've got that kind of football team that can do that.
The big first down for Lou Lorick. It moves them out away from their goal line. And Jeremiah again. And Calgary making no secret of what they expect to take them to the Vanier Cup. The blocking of Spallettini and the running of Jeremiah. I guess not a situation where go with what got you here. Jeremiah has won them football games all season long.
Well, I think that's right. And, you know, it was the power, because today is not a day that, like I said, you're going to be able to pass the ball. But Carleton has to establish a little bit of a run, and they haven't done that yet.
Well, there's still no score. The Dinosaurs with the ball. We'll be back with more of the first quarter right after this. Well, we were speaking about, some of the brother acts on this team, Doug and Darren Peterson, as you can see, twin brothers, and they have a tradition of athletic abilities. Brother Brent plays for the Vancouver Canucks, and brother Greg plays for the Calgary Stampeders, so these Petersons are athletes. So's Lou Lorick, and he has the ball at the 32-yard line. Dinosaurs and Carleton Ravens, no score. This is the Western Bowl. The winner goes to the Vanier Cup. The loser talks about what might have been. Again, it's Jeremiah. But this time, they shut it down.
They shut it down. There's also a flag on a play, and it looks like it could have been holding.
Seems as though if there's a trend developing, Calgary.
Here we are. This is
Go
just
ahead,
a power sweep, Mike. He steps inside, and steps back outside. Now, see, normally there, when he stepped back outside, that was a good move on Jeremiah's part. He might have held that halfback in there and been able then to step back outside and with his speed outrun that man.
Good.
But today, there's no speed. Everybody's equal today. Everybody's about a 5'4", 40 tonight out here, you know.
Well, Jeremiah couldn't find the opening, and they don't get the first down, but they do move the ball, and maybe that's the story developing. We will not obviously have a high-scoring game, but both offense have put together a couple of first downs and gotten out of bad field position. That's Brent Maddock, the kicker. The line of scrimmage now the 32. Back deep, Leo Benvenuti and Frank Bastianelli. They have blocked one kick so far. Let's see if they go after it. They do. They come up the middle, and this time Maddock gets it away. It's a low driving kick that doesn't drive that far. Good coverage there. Frank Bastianelli brings the ball out to the 43. Still no score this time. The Carleton Ravens with the opportunity to move the ball on a frigid, cold evening in Calgary.
Bastianelli with the...
He said it before the game, the key to this game, don't make mistakes. And that seems to be the philosophy of both Ace Powell, the coach of Carleton, and Peter Kennellan, the coach of Calgary. Keep it away, don't make the mistakes.
Right, neither teams, after the first 2 minutes of the game when Calgary had the punt blocked and Carleton fumbled the snap on a field goal, neither team has made a mistake. So that's outstanding play.
Quick pass to Barnaby, and they take advantage of the fact that the defensive back laying pretty far off the ball.
Here we are, and it's just a quick slant in, what they call a hot pattern, because the defensive back is off of him. He catches the ball, like I say, it's tough, and he hangs on. See, he hangs on there, uses his body on that. Normally, he'll catch that ball in the hands.
Well, I guess that's a case of just smart football. If they're laying 15 yards off the ball, why not take the pass? If it was a better pass, certainly he would have had more yardage, but an easy reception.
Well, the thing is on that, Michael, it's tough to throw the pass with a lot of force and philosophy because the ball is cold. So I think here we have a penalty on Carleton. Looks like it's going to be a roughing penalty.
And we should tell you that this telecast is protected by copyright and is intended solely for the non-commercial entertainment of our viewing audience. Any use, reproduction, or distribution in whole or in part of the pictures or descriptions herein contained without the expressed written consent of the Sports Network. Tough, what is it? Strictly prohibited.
Yeah, it is prohibited. It's a no-no.
Yeah. Tuffy Knight will pay a visit to your home if you do that. First down now and 20 on the holding call. So Holland's faced with a definite passing situation. He swings it out of the backfield and complete to Benvenuti, and Benvenuti makes back 11 of the yards. Bruno Jeremiah pushing him out of bounds, but Carleton certainly successful on first down, making half of it back.
Right, now this is a dangerous pass unless it goes forward here, but it does go forward there just by about 2 yards. But watch him, after he gets his ball out there, watch when he hits it. You'll see this ball come loose there. See that? That ball's loose, and it goes out of bounds. If Calgary would have touched that ball before it went out of bounds, it would have been their ball.
And that's something we can expect to see more of.
I think as the game progresses, you definitely will see more of that.
Temperature at game time, minus 26. And that big defensive line of Calgary pours in on Paulo Hollins. Never had the chance on the sack. The nose tackle, Rob Prodanovic.
Here we are on that play. He's got to throw this ball quicker, see? There, he's got to throw it. If the man's not open, you throw the thing out of bounds, up in the bleachers someplace. And the worst it's going to be is would have been 3rd down and 9. Now they lost 10 yards on the play. And that is difficult to teach a quarterback to do that, but that's what he has to do. If it's not there on that run and shoot, you throw it. It's either going to be there immediately or it's not going to be there at all.
You see the kick returners. Number 14 is Doug Peterson. The other one, Darcy Kopp. The kicker, Jeff Morris. Morris gets it away. It will go to Peterson at the 40. Peterson out to the 49. So in this kind of chess game of field position, it's now in the court of the Calgary Dinosaurs.
Here you are. He catches that ball. Look, he catches it in his chest a little bit, which is very dangerous, but he comes up there, and it's a good tackle, but they have pretty good field position. Last time they took over on about the 30-yard line. This time they're taking over on the 49. You've just gained 19 yards on that exchange. 1:33
to play in the first quarter. No score. This is the Western Bowl on TSN. That is the coach of the Carleton Ravens, or at least it was, Ace Powell. His team winners last week over Concordia. Lorick gets it away as a receiver, open and in, and sliding off the hands. Pretty good toss under the hands of Randy Guy.
He was open. It was there, and Lorick did a great job of avoiding the rush here. Watch this. We're going to see Lorick avoid the rush here. Watch, he steps back, gets himself set. Watch, there it comes in. He misses, steps up into the pocket. Watch it. Delivers the ball. That's strong-armed because his feet were not in very good position. He strong-armed it there, because if he could have got his feet in a little better position there, he could have thrown the ball up a little higher and let Randy Guy run under it, and it would have been a touchdown.
Question you brought up before the game, Tough, was could the quarterbacks hold the ball and throw it well? Lorick answered that. The answer, yes. And this time he gets the first down. He goes right back to Randy Guy. The pass last time slid off his fingertips. This time, an 11-yard gain and a first down for the Calgary Dinosaurs.
Okay, he sprints right out here and he throws the ball. I think you saw this off of the game last week, because Concordia did this to Carleton a number of times and missed the ball, but also caught a few. And that's just a man going down on the sideline, and it's easier to throw that because Lou Lorick, that's not a long pass. He's sprinting out and just kind of dumping it off.
Randy Guy, also a good hockey player, and actually played midget hockey with Brian Benning with the Calgary Buffaloes here in Calgary. So good athlete. Warwick now with the ball on the 49. That's Elio Jeremiah, and stopped in the middle of the line. Gain of only 3 on the play.
Okay, here we are. Let's watch Spallettini's block here. Let's see what kind of block he gets. We're not going to see it. He's able. It's good defensive play. He cuts it back to the inside, seals it to the inside, and Carleton did a good job on the defense. Calgary's using 2 tight ends, and I don't think they've done that this year. They're not doing it every play, but occasionally they will use it on first down situations.
And Lorick wanted Randy Guy, and there's a player on the field. It's number 5, Mike Shiroshka. You can't see him, but he was kind of jumping up and down, frustrated, because he was wide open 30 yards downfield.
The pass was thrown behind Randy Guy that time, and this is the thing that you're going to see because of the field conditions and the weather.
That was Joe Garretta, linebacker for Carleton, that you were looking at on the coverage.
You're not going to see real great execution. You know, you just play and hope that you get the break. And don't make a mistake. The other team's hoping you don't make a mistake, and you're hoping you get a break or two.
Brent Maddock, the punter, averaged 42 yards during the season, so he had a big year. Back deep, Leo Benvenuti, number 74, and number 24, Frank Bastianelli. High snap, but no rush this time, and a good, high, lofting kick. And we may have a no yards in the play. The ball to Frank Bastianelli, and that will wrap up the first quarter. Still no score. But the Carleton Ravens have the ball, and we'll check it out. It looks as though it will likely be no yards.
Here it is. It's a no-yard call.
And that will bring the ball out to the 33-yard line. No score from Calgary. Well, it'll be interesting to see what they do. And you see Tip Logan, the referee, indicating something. He's calling them back because the quarter cannot end on a penalty.
That's exactly right. Tip has done a lot of, he's from Ontario and officiates in the OUAA. And he's right. The quarter cannot end on a penalty.
You know how some guys can be out in cold weather and still look warm? Tip looks cold.
Yes, he does. In fact, Tip is cold. I know Tip quite well, and he's cold, I can tell you that.
How cold is it? Well, if you are joining us just over the past little while, it is minus 26 degrees Celsius. We're not sure, but that may be a record for a football game in this country, certainly in recent memory. So Paulo Hollins now with the ball on the no yards penalty. No time left in the first quarter. Ball at the 33-yard line. That's Mark Skidmore, or rather Mark Brown, and Brown will pick up 4 yards. It'll be a 2nd down and 6. Now, with no penalty markers in the field, we will change ends. Still no score. This is the Western Bowl. The winner of this football game goes to the Vanier Cup, and as of right now, no edge. Still no score at the end of one quarter. Shell on TSN. This time it's the CIAU on TSN, and complete to Benvenuti, and Benvenuti dodges a tackle, and he didn't dodge the second one, which was of more importance. Doug Nyhoff brought him down short of the first down. Let's check out the statistics from the first quarter. A quarter that saw no scoring. First downs pretty even, but yards rushing almost all to Elio Jeremiah. That really the key in this football game. And Tuffy Knight, you were saying that if you were Calgary, you wouldn't do anything else but run Jeremiah.
Well, yes, I think that that's the key, I think, to success right now. I would run Jeremiah on the off-tackle play and on the power sweep, and that's all I'd do. I would be very, very selective in those plays, and that's all I'd run. Carleton has got to establish a little bit of a running game if they expect to be successful. It may be all over.
This is Darcy Kopp. Only one player can bring him down, the kicker. Let's see if he can. The kicker won't. Kopp will go the length of the field. Darcy Kopp gets the Calgary Dinosaurs on the board. 75 yards on the return. Kopp brought it back. The kicker, the only man with a shot at him, and he couldn't make good on that shot.
Well, the wall seemed to form very quickly there. I don't understand it, but it was a pretty high kick. Watch this. He catches it here, comes up the middle with the first, and then breaks it to the outside. There's a missed tackle there. The contained man, see, didn't do a very good job there for Carleton. And the thing that probably set that up is his first 3 steps to the inside, up the middle, and then broke to the outside.
Well, Tuffy, good football teams respond. This is the first specialty teams touchdown the Dinosaurs have scored all season long, and it could not have come at a better time.
Well, that's going to be a very key tonight to get that. They were on the scoreboard, and this is not going to be a high-scoring football game.
And you see the man that did it, Darcy Kopp. He has his team out in front. The conversion to come, the all-time career interceptor. Actually, it was 14 before the year. It's 16 now. An injury on the field. We'll have a report on that. And we'll have the rest of the second quarter as you see the score. The Dinosaurs 6, the Carleton Ravens from a cold McMahon Stadium in Calgary. We'll be back right after this. Well, he's okay. That's Brian Belway. blocking on the kick return, obviously blocking successfully, as you see him trotting off the field, the defensive end for the Calgary Dinosaurs. Conversion attempt now to come for the Dinosaurs. Neither team has moved the ball particularly well offensively, but the Dinosaurs didn't have to get their points. 75-yard punt return by Darcy Cobb.
That was just a great return. He broke it up, started up the middle and broke it to the outside, and it was there very quickly.
And you see the indication from Tip, the official. Brent Maddock on the conversion, 7-0. They're cold, but they like what they see. 7-0. The Calgary Dinosaurs out in front of the Carleton Ravens. Keep in mind, the winner of this football game goes to the Vanier Cup next week in Toronto. Well, we showed you the statistics from the first quarter as far as total yards was concerned, and rushing and passing, and well, the Dinosaurs did it without either one of those on the specialty teams.
Well, that's 33% of the game. You know, defense 33%, offense 33%, and the special teams 33%. So that's 33% of any football game, and right now they have done an outstanding job with that. Even like say catching the football, and that put them in the driver's seat right now, which at this time and point on a night like this, pretty nice.
Milan Marjanovic kicks it off. It goes to Frank Bastianelli. And Bastianelli with a good return, but, and there is a big but for Carleton. They'll be charged with either holding or blocking from the rear, and this ball will be pushed well back into Carleton territory. Good return, though.
Yeah, excellent. Excellent return. Here we are right here on the return. He catches the ball. He comes up through there running, like I said, hard, and breaks it right up the middle. I want to see if I can see the clip. Oh, right. No, that was a good block there. I didn't see the blocking below the waist or the clip, but obviously it was a pile of people over there, and that takes them out of field position, really. They had the ball at the 30-yard line. Now they're back to the 20, and that's not a good place to operate.
17-yard line, Tough, is where they'll start. And as you say, I'm not good on a night like this. We felt as though field position would dictate this football game. So far, specialty teams have. Frank Bastianelli, good kick returner, good defensive back. They call him the magnet because of his attraction to the ball. Paulo Hollins, little trouble on the exchange, little trouble in the backfield. He breaks a tackle or two, and now this may have been forward. The official says no. I'm not sure whether that was forward or not.
Doesn't matter or not.
He was over the line of scrimmage,
I don't think so, Michael. Nope. He wasn't over the line of scrimmage.
Well, we'll check it out, Tough.
Okay, maybe. Let's see here. The line of scrimmage is the 17. Let's see where we are here.
Tough, he's over by 4 yards, I think, isn't he?
No. The yellow line is about the 17. We're going to see it. We'll see it from another angle here. Let's see.
Okay.
17. The yellow line, see, wasn't even the line of scrimmage there. He still could go about a yard beyond the yellow line.
Pretty close. Pretty close. Well, they tried the middle, and they didn't really get anything. Kent Warnock, the left defensive end for Calgary, made on the stop. If you're looking at the Calgary defensive line and figuring they're pretty big, there is good reason for that. When you look at it left to right, when they do play 4 defensive linemen, they are 6'7", 6'6", 6'1", and 6'8". They're big. Well, Jace Powell, though, says, Tough, we won't block them straight on. We'll try to finesse them.
Well, that's why Holland can't see over top of them. They're too tall. He can't see over top of them.
Well, his vision wasn't bad there. Not a bad pass, but a good defensive hit by Rod Mondin for Calgary, and that stops the Carleton drive. But they get the 1 first down, and now they'll punt the ball. Not in terribly bad field position.
Well, here we are. The pass is delivered extremely well, but like I said, you're not going to hold on to these in a day like today or a night like tonight. Watch this. The ball's right in his hands. There it is. See? You don't hang on to those. It's just too cold. Physically impossible.
That's Jeff Morris. You see his average, almost 39. Expect that one to drop down a bit today. And a good return again. And the return continues. Now this one could go all the way. Again. That's Doug Peterson. Peterson into the end zone or not at the 1-yard line. So who needs an offense? Who's concerned with the weather when you have specialty teams like that? 66-yard. It was the 67th that eluded him. But watching the replay.
All right, here we are. This is very outstanding return. Watch him break a tackle there. Another breaking a tackle there. Another one there. Another one there. and now he's off to the races. He breaks about 3 tackles, possibly 4 tackles, you know, and that's poor tackling. As I said, you're going to see that on a night like this. Boy, I might have given the touchdown on it.
Well, let's see if they get it here. Lou Lorick takes it himself. Lorick into the end zone for the score, but penalty marker on the field. Somebody was offside. That one may have been procedure.
Well, if it's against Calgary, no, it's going to be against Carleton.
Carleton offside. So Doug Peterson set it up. He brought it down to the 1. He did the bulk of the work. Lou Lorick finished it off, following the blocking of Kerber and Watson, the right side of that Calgary offensive line. And it's not easy to warm people in minus 26 degrees Celsius weather, but if it's possible, a couple of touchdowns will do it.
Well, I think some of the Calgary fans here are warmed up.
Brent Maddock on the attempt, and he puts it through. So today, these teams trying to cover the final miles on the road to the Vanier Cup. The one that will have to do it successfully is going to have to do it with snow tires and some antifreeze. Today, 14-0 Calgary. The reason? Very simple. Specialty teams. Darcy Kopp brought one back 75 yards for the touchdown. Next punt, it went to Doug Peterson. He brought it back 66 yards down to the 1, then Lou Lorick brought it in from there. These guys would like to respond to that. Back deep, Frank Bastianelli and Clark Oliver, and Milan Marjanovic, a backup lineman, tees it up at the 45. Ian James down to cover it. It was Leo Benvenuti who brought it out over the 20 to the 22 tough. So Carleton offense now faced with, well, not a situation you want to be down 2 touchdowns this early.
Well, here it is. You know, that ball might have gone out of bounds. He didn't want to take the chance. He comes up there, and there's a good hit right there, see. Hits him and stays square, stays on his feet and holds him up there until he got some help. But Carleton has got to get a little offense right now, move the ball down the field and at least get decent field position this quarter.
You're looking at Paulo Holland's number, 4 for 6, just 49 yards though, so they've passed the ball a fair amount so far and not a lot of yardage. This time they run it. That's Mark Brown. Brown breaking a couple of tackles, good balance, gets him a gain of about 4 or 5 yards on the play, but the Calgary defensive line really hasn't allowed Carleton to run the ball at all, Tough.
No, there they had him covered there. They must have missed the outside block on the 4-man, see. That's somebody come up there and missed it. Brown just ended up getting about 6 yards there on his own. That's just finesse. I don't know who it was for Calgary. He missed the tackle. Oh, Darcy Kopp missed the tackle out there. Carleton has got to block him, and if they're playing man for man out there, they've got to bring that wide receiver possibly down on Kopp.
Those numbers tell the story of the job they've done on Mark Brown. Paulo Holland's now 2nd down and 5. Lots of time looking deep for Brown, and the ball intercepted. And Darcy Kopp has been outstanding so far for Calgary. You saw the punt return for a touchdown. Now the interception. He is the leading interceptor in Calgary football history. That was number 17. Puts him just that much deeper into the record books.
See, Holland threw the ball, but he underthrew the man. And Darcy Kopp comes over and makes a great interception, be able to catch that ball at the highest point there, and just did a real good job. There's a missed tackle. See, Carleton is missing an awful lot of tackles. See, another almost missed tackle. You can't tackle like that and expect to win, but it's tough with this weather to tackle crisp.
So Laura could put him in great position here. He's looking deep. He has a receiver over the middle, wide open, and out of the hands. He intended it for number 24, Randy Guy. If he put it out a little bit further, Guy had a touchdown.
Well, he threw it behind him. He was underthrown, and like I said, this is what's happening. I think the leather on the ball now is starting to get a little bit cold. It gets stiff. And even though they're changing balls and they're keeping them down there in the drum, I think that once they get cold, they don't get warm again in 5 or 10 minutes. It takes about 20 minutes.
Calgary going for the throat there, up 14-0, 10:07 to play in the first half. They wanted to put it away early. And Laura puts it right into the hands of Randy Guy that time. If his hand was cold last time out, looked pretty warm there.
Well, he caught that ball there. Lorick delivered the ball much better that time. It was in front of him. And he was able to catch a ball using his body. Here we are. Watch Lorick steps up into the pocket, delivers it. He catches that ball kind of into his body a little bit, and that's a different pass. That's the one that's a little shorter, and they can throw those kind a little better than the long ones.
They've looked to Guy 4 times. They've completed it twice, and each time he's been open. This time it's Jeremiah. Jeremiah for a first down inside the 10-yard line or at about the 10-yard line. Calgary already up 14-0 on the 2 punt returns. The offense got the ball in good field position on the interception. And now for the first time, they're looking as though they could put the ball into the end zone. Ball actually at the 11. So remind you of that offense. Lorick is the quarterback. He has had not a great season. At times he's looked good, at times not. They have a good balance in their receiving, and they are led by that running back, Elio Jeremiah. Jeremiah on the draw. Jeremiah breaks the 1, the 2nd, and gets in for the score. 2 missed tackles. They try to bring him down high. They couldn't. Jeremiah in. It's now 20-0 for the Calgary Dinosaurs. Consider that at the end of the first quarter, it was only 4. There was rather no score. So this second quarter has been all Calgary.
Here we are. See, it's a counter play. He starts to his right and brings it back to the left. Now, the play was designed to go to the inside, and Jeremiah broke it to the outside. I thought there was a hole inside, but he thought he could go outside and outrun him, and he did, because the block was, they were kicking the man out, and he just outran him. Here we are. We're going to see it from another angle here. Watch this. Now, see, they pull the 2 guards there. They kick out. See, the play's supposed to go up into the inside, but he sees 52, the linebacker, step up in there, and he breaks it to the outside. That was Shad, and he broke it to the outside and outran the man. It was good blocking there by the 2 offensive guards for Calgary.
Well, the defense gave them the ball at the 40, and they put the ball in the hands of the offense, and they knew what to do with it. 5 plays, 40 yards, 20-0. It's Jeremiah that's down on the field. You can see where he's lying, but it probably wasn't a terribly serious injury since he scored on the far side of the end zone, so he made it back that far, and we expect that he'll make it off the field.
It's probably just maybe the wind knocked out a little bit more than anything else. Seems to be okay right now. I would guess it was, just probably got hit there over there on the sideline. And it's so cold, you probably don't know the wind's knocked out of you till you get halfway to the bench.
Well, coaches say, give me a running game in the cold weather. You saw the numbers of Jeremiah, 93 yards in just 19 minutes of football. They have a running game. They have the conversion, and they now have a 21-point lead. So the Carleton Ravens started it well. They played a good first quarter, but the second quarter has been a disaster. The Calgary Dinosaurs, 3 unanswered scores. Let's see if Carleton can find the answer. We'll find that out right after this. On TSN, trying to keep warm.
So those cheerleaders are jumping up and down, they stand on their head, jump up and down. They may do a lot of things, but if they can keep warm, I'll be surprised.
Marjanovic gets it to Leo Benvenuti. He takes it again at his 4. Benvenuti out over the 20. Now Calgary's starting to hit. You can see him gang tackling Benvenuti, Belway, and McElroy on the tackle. And the weather appears to be affecting Carleton far more than it did Calgary. But that's to be expected, I guess, Tuffy. Carleton practiced only 1 day in this cold. Calgary's done it all season long.
Well, they've practiced at least all week long. I wouldn't say it's been cold all season long here in Calgary. They'll jump on you for saying that, but they've practiced all week and it's been cold here. And but it goes back to power football. See, they play a power where, like I said, Carleton is more of a finesse football team, and it's a shame that they're unable to really use the finesse type offense they have, because they have an outstanding offense.
I'm told last Friday the temperature here was +8, so it hasn't been that long, but it's been cold. Benvenuti will make the reception, but Benvenuti's out of bounds. Critical point in the football game, Tuffy. It has to be for Carleton. They need to move the ball, and they need to score points. It's not the point where they can just rely on field position anymore.
No, they have to move the ball. They have to get a score. And I said earlier that they had to do it with their offensive running game, and they just haven't been able to do it because it's a finesse-type offense. Calgary's too big for them. They can't power them. Those defensive linemen for Calgary, like I said, are 6'6", 6'7", and they're just they're overpowered. They're overpowering right now.
Holland's 4 for 8 for 49 yards, but this is very much a passing team. And 49 yards isn't very good with 8:27 to play in the second quarter for a passing team. Picked off. Wade Buteau Buteau down to the 2-yard line. So 2 interceptions, 2 punt returns have turned this football game totally around. The Calgary Dinosaurs now, with 8:15 to play, could take a giant step to Toronto in the Vanier Cup.
Well, that was what happens when you get in a situation where you know you're going to throw the football. And they knew they were going to throw. Buteau does a good job coming in front of the man. That's good drop for a linebacker. That's good deep drop for a linebacker. And when you do that, you know, it's a passing situation, 2nd down and 10. Those linebackers can loosen up because the run is not a real big threat.
I guess we saw why. All-Canadian in 83. And he kind of sort of had a smell for the end zone there. He accelerated, got down to the 1. Lorick to Jeremiah for the score. 27 now.
Yeah, he wanted the touchdown. And it's a shame he didn't get it. But like I said, it is bad news right now. This is just a power play right there. Spallettini kicks out. Jeremiah puts his head down and powers his way in there.
2 different quarters, very different. We're only 7 minutes into the second quarter, but it has been almost a mirror image of the first. The first quarter was dominated by the defenses. No one really moved the ball. It was more a punting game. And we figured it would be a low-scoring game. Well, we were right in half the case. It's been low-scoring for Carleton, but anything but for Calgary. As Brett Maddock, now a busy man, on for his 4th conversion, and for the 4th time, he kicks it right through. So now the task of Ace Powell, not just winning this football game, but trying to make it close. 28-0, and I guess it feels a little bit warmer now for those Calgary fans.
Well, there's no question about that. It's a little warmer, and like I said, a turnover. There was the turnover that we were talking about earlier part of the game. You don't want to do that. And the two specialty teams, or the specialty teams, have scored 2 touchdowns basically for Calgary, and that turnover set up that one. So you know, Carleton's defense has not played that bad. You just can't turn the ball over like that. Their offense can't, and the specialty teams have put them in a hole.
And as the game progresses, that face mask slides further and further up. Brother acts on the Dinosaurs. There are 4 of them. We talked about the Peterson brothers, also Kent and Greg Warnock, a couple of big defensive and offensive linemen. Running back Elio Jeremiah and defensive back Bruno Jeremiah, and the Steele brothers. And also consider that there is Mass Jeremiah playing for the UBC Thunderbirds, and Danny Jeremiah, who's now in grade 10 at a Calgary high school, and they say he could be better than all the rest. So the Jeremiah family, a football family. 5 minutes and 49 seconds ago, there was no score. The Dinosaurs have scored 4 times over that period.
Well, that's usually what happens on a weather conditions like that. When you bust it, sometimes you just bust it wide open, and that's what's happened to this game. And like I said, I bleed right now for Ace Powell over there and his coaching staff, because you know, they've busted it wide open and got to the point where it's not even a real close game right now.
That was McElroy you saw trotting off and slapping hands. He brought down Frank Bastianelli, met him at the 20, brought him down at the 22. That's where the Carleton offense will start. And Peter Cannellan, a conservative man, will not tell you that this one is over, but he has to be happy with his position, up 28 points now with 8:07 to play. Winner of this game goes to the Vanier Cup. And you can bet that those attempt numbers will increase. He's going to have to put the ball in the air. And that Calgary defensive line, averaging 6'5", just pouring in on the Carleton offensive line.
Yeah, I think that was Warnock there that made the first hit. And, you know, like I said, he just overpowered the man who was blocking him. And here we are. We're going to see it right here. 9-3. See, he comes on the inside there, comes in there and just grabs him. You know, that's just inside charge there. He took the inside gap, and the Calgary offensive tackle was unable to, you know, handle him at all. And
the result? No gain. As you look at Wade Buteau, a hero just a few moments ago with the interception down to the 1-yard line, teed it up for Elio Jeremiah, and it's now 28-0. Tough. I know in your illustrious coaching career, there must have been some time that you were down by this many points. And when you looked at the players and you said to them, it's not over yet, hang in, guys, did you find that they kind of didn't believe you?
No, they definitely won't believe that, you know. And I would never say hang in there, it's not over. I'd say we'll see what you're made of right now. We're going to show some character. And, you know, that's what they're going to try to do, is show a little character and get out there and knock some heads and show Calgary they're not that bad a football team.
Well, Well, he'll complete it to Benvenuti, but it likely won't be nearly enough. Benvenuti does a good job just to gain 2 or 3 yards. Dexton Blackstock, the cornerback on the far side, in on the tackle.
Well, that ball floated on him there. You know, he couldn't throw it out there with a lot of authority. And the time it floated out there, you know, Calgary was able to react and cover it and limit the thing to about a 3-yard gain.
Again, and this has been a busy man, Jeff Morris, kicking for Carleton. The last 2 times Calgary has returned the ball, they have done with tremendous success. This time, no success. Let's see if Carleton picked it up, and that could be the break they needed. No indication as of yet. And they get the ball. So the Carleton Ravens, down 28 points, finally get a break.
That was Demetrius Lanus, I think.
Actually, it's Doug Peterson, who was a hero just a few moments ago. Now, well, for the time being, somewhat of a goat.
He fumbled it.
Well, a touchdown won't get them back in it, but it certainly will help.
It would be nice to go in, to take it down and score a touchdown and go into the halftime with a touchdown, because that would you'd see a little better second half. I can assure you.
The half 6 minutes and 30 seconds away. That's Mark Brown, and Brown again stopped by that Calgary defensive line. Marker now comes down late. May have been a piling on penalty, and that may be the only way that Carleton gets any yardage.
Well, I wouldn't go as far as to say that, but it could be a piling on penalty.
No, I think I may have been premature, as we see Tip Logan chatting it over with Wade Buteau. Maybe a holding call. It is.
Yes, it is. Now, I want to say something that Tip's lips are, here we are on the play. See, they come in there. There's a linebacker comes up there, does an outstanding job there, number 50, Maldine.
Who cares about the linebacker? Tell me about Tip's lips.
Tip's lips are purple, and his cheeks are blue. And I just want to let you people know, don't adjust your set. That's living color.
Not a laughing situation for the Carleton Ravens, though. Paula Hollins with a 2nd and 9, and he completes it to Joe Barnaby. Barnaby will be short of a first down. He'll have a gain of about 8. It'll be 2nd down and 1.5 yards as he stepped in front of Blackstock to make the reception. Barnaby, their 2nd leading receiver on the season, 28 catches, 4 for 70 yards in their first playoff game. Shut down pretty well last week, but considering that they're missing John Dolly, their number 1 man, Barnaby has to have a big game.
Well, I think that's exactly right. I don't think they gave him his forward progress there. I think he was up at least another yard on that play, and they hit him and drove him back, and the placement of the ball there was not good.
Well, maybe with Tip's lips, he's lost a bit of a grip on the game.
That's not Tip's responsibility. That's the deep umpire's responsibility, and they just didn't. That's not a good ball placement there. They've been doing an excellent job on ball placement, because I always watch that. That's one of my pet peeves. But that placement there, the ball should have been up at least 1 yard farther.
You see the official. The huddle that you didn't see was Paolo Hollins talking with his coach, Ace Powell. Is his whistle glued to his lips?
I'll tell you what'll happen. Unless he has a rubber tip or some tape around that whistle, if you put it up there, it will stick to your lips.
3rd down and 2. Carleton facing that situation. They will go for it. They'll attempt it. Down 28 points. Ace Powell knows he needs some points before the end of the first half.
In fact, as cold as it is right now, just about anything will stick to your lips.
3rd down and 2, Tough. Run it or pass it?
Run it.
Inside or out?
Well, I'd run off tackle. I think they have to run off tackle, although I'd hate to run it Wolnick over there, but I think that's where I'd run it, off the right tackle.
We don't even know where they were intending it to go, because it never went there.
Well, the quarterback center had the bad exchange here. And that's what happened when you have a young quarterback in there. That's exactly what's happening to you, is what we said. You're making those mistakes. Here we are. Watch the ball come up here, right there. Watch. See, the center didn't get it up in his hands. It went under his hands. And we don't know whether it got the first down or not.
Well,
but it was going off right tackle.
Tough, they say when it rains, it pours. I guess that's maybe not apropos today, because it certainly wouldn't be raining, but when it snows, it drives at you, because Carleton just can't do anything right. At one time, it was no score. In fact, 3 minutes into the second quarter, there was no score in this football game.
Well, they got themselves in trouble on their specialty team. they needed that first down right there to keep the drive alive, because if they could have gone in at halftime with a score under their belt, like I said, that you would have seen a little different second half.
Well, you can see relationships for the Calgary Dinosaurs. Peter Oler, the son of the former BC Lion quarterback, Peter Oler, and Tyler Robinson, son of a great Calgary Stampeder running back, or defensive back. And here's a great Calgary Dinosaur runner, Elio Jeremiah. 58 yards for the score. Jeremiah has been magnificent today. And Tuffy Knight said it early on, you got to have a running game to win in this weather. They have a running game.
We're going to see that again, I think. Here we are going to see it again. It's just a straight head blocking with Spallettini leading the play. Just everyone blocks straight ahead. Spallettini leads the play. Jeremiah gets on his tail, follows him up through there, and bingo, they spring it, and it's, it's all over.
Tough. Jeremiah, the last 3 times he has touched the ball, has gone into the end zone.
Well, as I said, power will beat finesse. And, as I said, I really admire Carleton and their offense. I like that offense that they're using. But, it gets down to weather like this, you better come out with the horses and the big guys.
Add to that graphic the fact that there are still 5 minutes to play in the second quarter, and you have an impressive night brewing for Elio Jeremiah. Impressive night for the conversion man, Brent Maddock, on for his 5th. 5 touchdowns, all in the second quarter, all over the past 7 minutes. It's now 35-0. Calgary Dinosaurs. Scoring drive. Not a long one, but a good one.
Well, it's nice, like I said, nice to have that power football in weather like this.
And Ace Powell is saying, what happened? 9 minutes and 4 seconds ago, there was no score. Now he looks up at the clock, and he sees 35-0.
Well, I think it starts to work on, demoralize you a little bit right now. And, there's not much you can do about it. There's nothing the coach can do about it. And the players, just say, let the clock run. Let's get this thing over with and get our fannies out of here and head down to Hawaii someplace where we can lay in the sun on that sandy beach. Some guys are getting a tan out there, but it's a wind. I think it's a wind-burn tan or something. Although there's no wind, but the wind just blew the ball off the tee. Oh yeah, I see the flag over there. There is a wind. Yep, it's picking up, and wouldn't you know, it's Calgary's back, favoring them, like they really need it.
Well, you can tell by the breaths of the player which way the wind is blowing. One thing they don't need is another advantage. Milan Marjanovic. Should we have expected anything else, Tuffy? Nothing has gone the way of Carleton. They bobble the kick, and they don't get much on the return.
No, that was a very good return. I thought he would have come up and tried to catch that ball on the fly, which I think, would have been his thing to try to do.
McElroy has been great on specialty teams. He's made the last 3 tackles.
Well, he just does that so he can keep warm. If he don't get out there and hit somebody, you get too cold just for doing that. So you can out there and hit somebody, and that warms you up a little.
Did you, Tuff? Did you know?
Did I know what? Oh, 8 guys played. Yeah. No, I didn't know that. They are a veteran ball club, and they've been there before, so they know what it's like to be there again.
Last year, as we watched the Carleton Ravens, Mark Brown trying to break a couple of tackles. Last year, this team, the Calgary Dinosaurs, traveled east in the Yates Cup. They faced the Guelph Griffins, and they lost. And it was a game Calgary really felt as though they should have won. They had the ball deep in Guelph territory, and down just a couple of points, went for the touchdown, and Josh Borger appeared to be wide open in the end zone, but Laurie couldn't hit him. Today, they say they want to avenge that loss. They want to get back to the Vanier Cup, and with, 6 or 7 key players playing their last season, this is their last opportunity. That's Ace Powell, coach of Carleton. And again, the Calgary defensive line and linebackers, that time it was Jeff Sawchuk, 6'6". And Hollins must have looked 7 foot tall to Hollins.
Well, he can't see, he comes in there. Watch this right here. He just comes in here, and Sawchuk just overpowers the tackle there. So he just runs by him, actually, and he's right up in Hollins' face. Hollins doesn't have a chance, And you've got to got to give that defensive line credit. They are big and strong, and they're doing the job.
Well, those two kick returners have done a great job for Calgary. The one fumble by Peterson, but Copp and Peterson both having great returns to their credit. They really turned this game around. That's Darcy Copp. And will he or won't he? Darcy Copp again. This is unbelievable. 2 touchdowns now for Darcy Copp. Peterson took one down to the 1, and the Calgary Dinosaurs will go to the Vanier Cup. And the big reason so far, specialty teams. 58 yards on the return. Next time out, Ace Powell better go for it on 3rd down. He can't afford to punt it away.
All right, here we are right here. Watch. He breaks some tackles again. Right there, watch. Let's see the tackle. Good move right there. Breaks a tackle there. Breaks 2 tackles there. And, it's all over. Carleton is not coming down and tackling very crisp on her special teams, to say the least. And the thing is, you have to do that. That wasn't a difficult punt to cover. It hit the ground, and the Copp come up and caught it. But you have to tackle these backs from Calgary, and they've been like that for years. But you have to bring them down. You don't bring them down with an arm tackle. You've got to hit them and get a good head and shoulder in there on them.
But Tuffy, the unbelievable thing is that Calgary hadn't scored a specialty teams touchdown all season long. Now they have 2, and another one of 65 yards down to the 1-yard line. So that is what has turned this football game around. It is now the ultimate blowout. Yes, that is correct. 42-0 in the second quarter. Still 3:43 to play, which can't please Ace Powell as we look at that splendid punt return one more time.
Here we are, right. Say, there's a good block right there. There's a missed tackle by a good move there. 2 people missing right there. The other guys, he made a good move to get by the other people. But those 2 people that missed him there, that's inexcusable. I mean, you just, you shouldn't do that. If you do it, you're going to be behind 42-0, and that's exactly what's happened. Their specialty teams have just literally killed Carleton out here tonight, and they have not played a bad football game defensively, and there's 42 points on the board.
All in the second quarter. You see his statistics. 2 touchdowns, 132 yards for Darcy Copp, and he averaged during the season just 8.9. And I'm doing a little quick math.
Well, what happens now is, it's just very demoralizing for Carleton, and the thing is that they're not tackling crisp. And I said that in the beginning of the game, that you wouldn't be very sharp on your tackles.
Duff, I mentioned that he was averaging 8.9 during the regular season, 66 yards tonight on average.
Yeah, that's a pretty good average in any league.
This man has been a busy
man. In any sport.
That's Milan Marjanovic, and he does the kicking off for Calgary. And as you see the breeze blowing Calgary, maybe all the way to Toronto in the Vanier Cup. Marjanovic, and if the scoreboard tells us anything, this will not be a long return, and it is not. That was Joe Barnaba, yet he is drilled at the 25-yard line. He went no further. That's where Carleton will scrimmage the ball.
Well,
Rob Braden just laid a lick, as you like to say, Tom.
That's a good lick, right? Watch him. He hits a real good look right there. Boy, that is a lick. That kind of jars your teeth. And when it's cold, that's even worse. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you right now that, it's difficult, like Carleton got beat last year. Well, it's difficult to bring a young ball club, travel across this country, and then play well. It's never, the visiting team always has difficulty, I can tell you that. Well, history will prove that.
If you look throughout history, no visiting team has ever had more trouble than this Carleton team in this second quarter. And talking to Ace Powell this week, he was concerned. I said it must be thrilling as we look at some of the now warm Calgary fans. Well, I talked to Ace Powell and I said it must be great for your kids to come out here and play. He said, well, the concern is this. Many of them have never flown on an airplane before. A couple of guys came into my office and said, do they serve us food on the plane, Coach? Well, and he said he wondered how they'd handle the long trip and whether they'd concentrate on football. And if there's an answer, it seems to be no. And Mark Brown caught the ball, did a quick little foot shuffle, but not quick enough. They rolled, he's out of bounds.
I remember once, Michael, when I was coaching Lurie, the first time I took some guys on a plane, they packed a lunch with them, and they had some meatballs in the bag, and the bag broke, and the meatballs started rolling down the aisle. So some of these guys don't have a lot of experience as far as travel is concerned.
He also said, Ace did, that Monday after the Ontario-Quebec championship game, their first practice, he said it was their worst practice of the season. He had all kinds of trouble getting his players to concentrate on football. He's having the same trouble tonight.
Well, that's normal procedure. Like I say, Calgary, that's where the experience will come in. Calgary's been there before, and Carleton hasn't. So just the hype of the game and the travel and everything has got to, get the kids to concentrate on the game. That's happened before. It happened to me the first time I ever played in a college bowl game. Our kids thought they were there for a good time, and I think it is important that you have a good time.
What's the saying, Tuff? Once burned, twice shy, 3 times you get smart. They kicked the ball out of bounds.
Yeah, they did kick it out of bounds.
First down, Dinosaurs.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know what those guys are drinking, but obviously it's something that's keeping them warm. It probably Prestone antifreeze.
Lauren now can just hand the ball to Spallettini. He does, and at this point, what the Calgary offense does is meaningless. It's the Carleton offense that must now pick up on it, and if it sounds as though I'm reaching at straws, that may be the case. And
well, this
score 42-0.
Yeah, this is just straight ahead blocking again. Watch, and the defensive tackle there for Carleton did a pretty good job there. Number 54, Angus Donnelly, come over top of the block and hit him before he got started.
That's Jeremiah, and Jeremiah with a big hole to the right side. Jeremiah down to the 30-yard line. And again, we should tell you that the score is 42-0. There is 2:18 to play in the second quarter. And with that much time into the second quarter, there was no score.
Here we are again with the power sweep. Spallettini kicks out, Jeremiah cuts it up. See, they can run that play. That's a great football play for this kind of weather.
Duffy, they give the runner credit. They say gain of 15, he's got almost 200 yards. But that one has to go to the offensive line.
Well, that and Spallettini. Spallettini kicks out. There's no question the Jeremiah's running in there hard, but the line's blocking down, sealing, and then Spallettini kicks out, and you got a successful football play. That's an old basic football player that everybody should have, really. And some of the pro teams don't have it because they don't believe in running the football maybe as much, but I definitely think that's a play that every football team should have.
The interesting thing, Tuff, is I asked Peter Cannellan whether the team this year that he was leading into the championship game was better or worse than the team last year. And he said, not as good, because of the offensive line. We're not as strong. Maybe they're coming of age tonight. Well, no fault of Jeremiah. He did everything he could to try to pick up the first down. He didn't. It'll be 3rd down and 5.
Well, there's no question that, Calgary's offensive line is big, and they're blocking extremely well tonight. But the thing that probably deflated Carleton more than anything was the specialty, the punt returns.
That's Ace Powell. Do you feel for him, Tuff?
Yeah, that's Ace, and I feel sorry for all those guys over there standing in it cold on both sides of the field, but it's a little easier to stand over here when you got the 42 points.
Brett Maddock, 11 of 20 on the season. McNabb, the holder. And Maddock. And I guess that shouldn't surprise us at all. Everything has gone Calgary's way, including the score. Boys have gone their way. 45-0. 1:32 to play in the first half.
Well, that's probably Carleton's going to get the ball at the 35-yard line, so that's the best field position they've had this quarter. So it's a break, and if you want to find something on the bright side, and that's tough to find anything on the bright side because it's just been a disastrous quarter for them.
You have followed the CIAU for a long time, Tuff. Have you ever seen a worse quarter for a team?
What?
Have you ever seen a worse quarter for a football team?
No, I think this might be the worst I've seen, really.
If you have, it must not have been a pretty sight.
I remember once in the Atlantic Bowl, we beat St. Mary's 52-14, but we didn't do it all in one quarter. We did it all in 3 quarters, though, because it was 52-70 into the 3rd quarter, but never this high at halftime.
Well, Hollins, as has been the case all night, forced out of the pocket, and he picked up about 6 yards. It'll be 2nd and 4, and what Coach Ace Powell desperately has to pray for is no punt.
Nah, he has to run the football. It'd be nice if they could run that football a few times and establish the running game, and that way it keeps the clock running too. And they need that desperately.
What they need desperately is to get out of this quarter. That's Mark Skidmore doing a good job and getting the first Carleton first down in a while.
Well, that's just straight ahead power play there. And Carleton doesn't have a lot of highlights, but here we are on the instant replay. Watch it. Comes out there. Good block there by Brown. He's a little guy, and he put in there and put a pretty good block on the defensive tackle for Carleton on Sawcheck. And Sawcheck probably outweighs him 100 pounds just about. And he put a good block on him and broke Skidmore.
First down at the 53 for Carleton. Less than a minute to play. Mercifully for the Ravens. What a good toss. He ran a long way.
Well, at one point he had his first down, but he kept coming back. And he ended up gaining about 8 yards, I think, to 7 yards. But he had the first down at the point where he caught the ball, I believe.
That was Mark Reed on the reception. He'll have about 7, but as Tuffy said, at one time he had 11. A couple of moments ago, Skidmore carried the ball as Carleton takes a timeout. Skidmore, interesting story, heavily recruited out of Robinson High School in Hamilton 2 years ago. Ace Powell said he wanted him, went and talked to the kid, but he was interested in playing McMaster. He went to McMaster last year, and when Ace was back recruiting again at Robinson, he mentioned to the coach there and asked him whether or not Skidmore was happy. The coach said he didn't think so. So Powell told him, well, tell him to call me. I can't talk to him because that would be tampering, but tell him to call me. I'd still like him to play. Skidmore started for him last week for the first time. Gained 150 yards and 4 touchdowns. So he's happy to have him.
Well, he did an outstanding job last week, and I think he can do a good job tonight. It's just that they've got to use him a little bit, because all good running backs, the more they run, the better they get. And I think Skidmore falls into that category. I think that might be Mark Brown that's down on the play. He probably tried to throw a block, and like I said, he is not very big. He's probably 160 pounds soaking wet, and he's a fine bone finesse type player, and he put a good block in there a while ago on Skidmore run, and he's the kind of kid that's probably going to go in there and throw his body around and not be too concerned about it. That's probably, it looked like he's holding his side or his arm there. I can't tell.
He really is a fine ball player, and the sad thing about this weather is you don't get him to see his stuff. The statistics certainly reflect that. He played in the Carleton-Ottawa All-Star game last year, and Ace Powell just said that he thought he was outstanding and that he could be an outstanding player, and Ace was correct, but it's not Mark Brown-type weather. It's not Carleton-type weather. 33 seconds to play in the first half. The pass completed to Skidmore inside the 30, inside the 20.
That's an excellent play there. A good execution on that. And Carleton is starting to, execute just a little better. See, Skidmore's probably got the wind knocked out of him there. There's good pass protection, and Holland does a good job delivering the ball. Watch, right on the money here. Skidmore catches it, then takes a pretty good lick right here, I think. Yeah, right there. See, falls down. That's cold, falling on that cold ground, I'll tell you that.
Tyler Robinson and Doug Peterson laying the lick, as you say, Tuff.
Yeah, I think Mark Brown has an excellent chance of possibly being the CIAU Rookie of the Year, because of the fact he has good statistics and he's had a great year for Carleton. So there's a lot of competition for that award, which will be announced next week. But I think he's in my estimation, he's a front runner for that award.
We should mention that this Carleton football team offensively is not healthy. Their #1 quarterback, Cam Collins, who had such a superb year, was injured his knee 3 weeks ago, and at that time was clearly out for the season. Also, John Dolly, who caught 48 passes for Carleton, is missing tonight with a lower back problem. But looking up at the scoreboard, as we turn to our right, seeing 45-0, 26 seconds to play, Collins and Dolly wouldn't have this Carleton team in front.
No, it'd take more than that.
They want to work the screen, and they do. That's Clark Oliver. Oliver does a good job kind of weaving his way inside the 10 down to the 7-yard line. 18 seconds to play. Let's see if Carleton uses its second timeout.
Well, it'd be nice to score before you go in at halftime. And this weather will suit Oliver a little more than Brown. It's good execution of the screen pass here.
They don't go with a timeout, and Hollins threw it away. Kind of a smart play there. Now 9 seconds to play. Okay, Tuff, you're the coach, Ace Powell. You're standing at the bench. You look up at the scoreboard, 45-0. You now got a second down situation. If you don't make it here, do you take the 3 or do you go for the score?
Oh, I think you go for the score. What's 3? I think if you get the score, you can come out and play, the second half and say, let's see who wins the second half. They won the first. Let's see who wins the second. And like I said, it goes back again to pride and character. And you would have a little pride and character if you can win the second half.
Well, let's see if they have to go to third down, and they won't because the ball intercepted now. That was Doug Peterson again. Just a few moments ago, he returned the punt 66 yards for the score. So the first half ends in fitting fashion. And the second quarter, most of all, ends in fitting fashion with a turnover.
Hollins steps back, throws the ball. I don't think he sees there. Look, he cuts right around. He underthrew the ball. See, if he throws the ball up and over, he has a chance to score, but he underthrows the football there.
And I guess really it's apropos, Tuff. And the thing that jumps out at you is the fact that there was no score as the second quarter began. There is a big score right now. 45-0. Our halftime show to come now, down to cold Peter Watts at field level.
All right, Michael. Well, Tuffy Knight called it at the top of the telecast. He suggested that Calgary would handle the cold weather better than Carleton, and they certainly did in that second quarter. 45-0 is the score. We'll take a break now for just a moment and return with more football from McMahon Stadium in Calgary in just a moment. Welcome back to McMahon Stadium in Calgary. The halftime score, indeed the second quarter score, 45-0. And the bad news is it's getting colder. This city is going to host the 15th Winter Olympiad 2.5 years from now. And the University of Calgary is going to be one of the big beneficiaries of all of the construction and activities in this area. Here's a progress report now on the Calgary Olympics. While the facility legacy of the Calgary Olympics will belong to everyone, there is no doubt that the University of Calgary is perched right in the heart of a rich bonanza that can do nothing but help its phys ed and intercollegiate athletic programs. Mount Allen, site of the Alpine events, for example, is only an hour away from the university. The Nordic ski development is 30 minutes away and will feature snowmaking equipment, a day lodge, and lots of trails to challenge the talents of cross-country skiers and biathlon athletes. Canada Park, site of the ski jumping hill and the bobsled and luge runs, is about 5 minutes from the university. And then, of course, there is the world's first 400-meter indoor speed skating oval, which is right on the campus.
Well, the university receives one of the biggest legacies of any area. First of all, the Athletes' Village is at the university, and they will be receiving all kinds of new construction for athletes to stay in, which will, of course, be university housing thereafter. Then the university ends up with a new facility for a gymnasium, which will be used as an expansion of the physical education facility. And finally, the blockbuster is the Olympic Oval, the first indoor speed skating oval in the world. And in its winter configuration, it will house figure skating, speed skating, and hockey, and many other sports like that, jogging and so on. And in the summertime, you could put 22 tennis courts in there, 2 soccer fields, you name it. It's a tremendous field house. The sports medicine clinic is there also, and that's being partly funded by the university as well as OCO 88. Another facility at the nearby Foothills Hospital is the medical testing facility, which one might call dope testing, but it's very important for world-class athletic performances to have that kind of facility. We're going to have the best coaches in the world coming to the Calgary area because of the facilities that are here. And that's a legacy for the people of Calgary and Alberta particularly. And we're going to find that those coaches will attract great young athletes, and it's going to multiply itself as time goes by.
The big challenge, of course, will be to make sure that there are operating dollars available after the Olympics have come and gone, to keep the facilities maintained and provide the programming necessary to develop good athletes.
CODA, which is the Calgary Olympic Development Association, will in fact be the owner of the park, and they will run it. And they'll run it both summer and winter because it'll be a great tourist attraction too.
Have you been talking at all of making Calgary a training center for these two sports, or has that already been decided or anything like that?
Well, as a matter of fact, when the park is finished, there will be a training center that will have dormitories for about 80 athletes, and it'll have weight training facilities and physiotherapy rooms, everything that you could want for training. it will be the training center for those sports.
There aren't many schools in North America that will have the kind of opportunity the University of Calgary has to develop a high-profile athletic program to complement its academic courses. There are so many opportunities here to develop athletes and coaches and sports medical people and sports administrators and so forth. It will be interesting to watch the University of Calgary handle the challenge. Well, we hope it's not this cold 2.5 years from now, but we suspect that it might be. The Penguin and I are enjoying a good football game. 45-0 is the halftime score in favor of the Calgary Dinosaurs. Okay, let's talk now a little bit of football. Again, this time we feature Mark Brown, the rookie running back of the Carleton Ravens. He has had a great season, and while his season may very well end with the Ravens on this particular night, he still has something to look forward to next week in Toronto. Mark Brown has played no small role in the fortunes of the Carleton Ravens this year. He came out of J.S. Woodsworth High School in Ottawa, where he was one of the stars of the City High School League. Brown got a chance to play early in the season when running back Clark Oliver was hurt, and he responded with 719 yards rushing, second only to Larry Moore of Queens. Brown is a legitimate candidate for the Gorman Trophy as Canada's top college rookie, and if he can keep up these kinds of numbers, he will be a candidate for even bigger rewards in the future.
Well, Mark gives us something we've never had here, and that's some team speed. He's a type of player that can turn a loss of 2 yards into a gain of 15 or 20, and especially since we've added our option, we have him out there one-on-one with the secondary, and more times than not, he beats the first man and gets us pretty good gains.
Brown is a keen student of runners like Marcus Allen, Tony Dorsett, and Walter Payton.
Dorsett, like a change of speed, the way he can, he's able to change his speed like on a dime, and Marcus Allen, the way he just sort of, he shifts so well, he can cut like 90 degrees or 180 degrees on a split second, stuff like that, and it's just things like that. It just the way the heads up, ball playing, and just the split second reaction, the way they're able to do stuff like that.
Do you have time to read a hole when you're handed the ball and you see all these guys kind of converging on you? Do you have time to read a hole, or do you just react instinctively to what you see?
Most of it's instinct. I mean, you see in the films the day after, whatnot. Oh, geez, maybe I should have cut it right more instead of left. And it's so split second. You look for cracks and whatnot, and if there's a pulling guard or whatnot, or pulling tackle, but you don't really. You don't really know until you're in the hole and you've made your decision. You have to go with it, but it's more or less split second and just like instinct, I think.
Are you surprised at the prominent role you've played in the Carleton offense this year? Did you really expect to get the ball as much as you have when you first got here?
No, in the training camp, I knew Clark Oliver. He hurt himself. He had knee surgery, and they gave us a chance, or gave me and some of the other backs a chance to to play in the preseason and whatnot and get a good look. I've always loved carrying the ball. I love carrying the ball at least 20 times or more. But I was just going to be happy with starting and playing as much as I could the first year, and things have turned my way, and I can't complain. I'm still here, type of thing, in one piece, and I just enjoy playing.
He's a fine young man, Mark Brown, but he and his Carleton teammates have some work to do in the second half. 45-0 is the score for Calgary. Tuffy night. Michael Landsberg and first half highlights coming up in just a moment.
The Grey Cup, Canadian football supremacy. 9 CFL teams strive for a goal only one can achieve. The road to Grey Cup is challenging. Exceptional individual skills expressed in an arena of team effort. Montreal hosts Grey Cup 85. A week of festivities set the stage for the ultimate confrontation in Canadian sport. For information on Grey Cup in Montreal, dial this hotline 1-416-928-3535.
Several minutes into the second quarter, there was no score. Then the Calgary Dinosaurs literally exploded, 45-0. Now the score as we head to the second half of play. And chatting with Tuffy Knight now. Tuffy, they started off doing it with specialty teams.
Well, specialty teams are 33% of your football offense or football team. And Calgary has proven that that 33 has been very valuable. Here we are on the first replay, and Darcy Kopp starts up the middle and then breaks to the outside. There's a missed tackle there, and after that, no one touches him. Now, the key is, I feel, to any successful punt return is to start up the middle. And I think one of the great punt returners would probably verify this. One of the great ones that I've ever coached or been associated with is Paul Bennett. And he always says take the first 2 or 3 steps up the middle and then break it to the outside if you're going to. And that's exactly what Darcy Cobb did, and I think that was a key to that punt return there. He started up the middle first.
And they said, what could he do for an encore? And he found something.
Here's the second one. He takes it here. Now here, he goes up the middle all the way there. Good move right there. See a little step inside, stutter step there to the inside, then breaks 2 tackles right there. That was the key to that. The move, the stutter step to break, to get free, and then break the last 2 tackles there. And that was the key to that punt return there. But he started up the middle first with the ball again.
Tuffy, you speak of keys, and literally every coach that has coached against this team has said the key is stopping Elio Jeremiah, their great running back, and Carleton has not stopped him.
Well, he's an outstanding football player, and you don't bring him down with an arm tackle. Now here, this is natural instinct right there. See, starts to his right there, brings back, and this play's supposed to go inside, supposed to be cut up inside, following number 45 there, and he breaks it to the outside. You don't teach it back there and breaks a tackle there. You don't teach it back that. That's natural instinct. Now, the play was designed to go to the inside. He felt that he could break it to the outside and get yardage. Now here we are on the last one. This is just straight power right up the middle, straight ahead blocking, and he splits 2 linebackers there, and it's a foot race there. That's just, you credit that to your offensive line there, and Spallettini on his block. Jeremiah, he led Jeremiah up through there and all the way for the touchdown and big yardage. That's how a running back can really get the yardage up and get good average when he gets big ones like that.
Oh, you spoke of good power football, how that would be the key. You couldn't really get fancy, and the Dinosaurs haven't done anything fancy, just good power football.
No question. It's just pure power, and they can out-horse them and out-man them.
And I guess the question now is, can Carleton come back? And I don't say that with much conviction because they likely can't.
Well, I don't think they can come back all the way, but they can come back and get a little respectability, and that's what Coach Ace Powell is trying to do right now in there in the halftime in the dressing room.
Well, here's what we're going to try to do. I'm going to try to get my hand unglued for this microphone, and if we can do that, we'll broadcast the second half for you. The Calgary Dinosaurs out in front, way out in front of the Carleton Ravens, 45-0. Second half coming right up. It was a football game. As the second quarter started, it was a close game. In fact, there was no score. But then the Calgary Dinosaurs, well, you see what they did. And let me put it to you again, Tuffy. Have you ever, in all your years, seen a worse quarter of football for a football team than Carleton?
Well, no, I haven't. And the key, of course, is the fact is that the specialty teams, I felt, pulled the rug out from under them.
And you see the statistics, and the real meaningful statistics, the turnovers. Certainly Carleton has struggled there. And the yards rushing, Elio Jeremiah, the bulk of that, almost all of it. He's got about 170 of the 177. Yards passing kind of non-existent. But as Tuffy said, specialty teams. 2 punt returns for touchdowns by Darcy Kopp, both long ones, and 1 by Doug Peterson, a long one, 66 yards down to the 1. And that's how you turn a good football game into no football game.
Well, as you see, Michael, the total yardage is 195 to 148. Normally, you would look at the statistics, you'd say that's a pretty fair football game, pretty close football game. But if you look at turnovers, Carleton had 5, Calgary had 1. The thing that doesn't show statistically is the specialty teams.
Well, coaches like to put it this way. Weather's the same for both teams, but in essence, that's maybe not totally accurate as we look at what's coming up on TSN, NHL hockey. We're glad to tell you our first game from New York, Rangers against the Islanders. That's Sunday, November 24th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, the NHL on TSN. And as I was saying, Tuffy, it's the same for both teams, but it doesn't affect both teams in a similar fashion. Calgary more used to it, obviously, than Carleton.
Well, I don't know if you ever get used to it. I mean, some people tell me when I came to Canada I'd get used to this, and boy, I'm certainly not used to this, I'll tell you that, if I lived here 145 years. But you don't get used to it. But this weather suits Calgary's offense a little more. Like I said, they're bigger, they're stronger, and they're a more power-type offense.
Well, we always knew Peter Watts was a bright man. It's 26 degrees below Celsius here at McMahon Stadium. Peter Watts found a warmer place.
Well, the atmosphere is a little happier here at the Keg near McMahon Stadium. You're kind of enjoying this.
A little bit. It's good.
How come you're not at the game?
Too cold, just a bit.
Was there any doubt that they'd win this one?
No, not really. Not in my mind. We all know the Dinos will never win.
You think they can Vanier Cup?
Of course. Of course. The West is going to win it. Calgary's going to do it for us.
I'm sorry? 3,500. Smart move by Tuffy Knight, or rather by Peter Watts. And the Zamboni has, and that is not an alcohol bottle you see there. He's brought water in that bottle.
No, not water. Water would freeze. That's antifreeze. He's going to take it out and put it in his car.
Apparently the Zamboni has done its job on the field, and we're set to go. And Tuffy, if you're looking for an explanation, well, maybe we'll explore those in a while. And maybe the term Ravens is appropriate because this football team appears as though it would like to fly south right now. 45-0. Second half coming up in just a few moments from McMahon Field in Calgary. Mercifully, they have extended the halftime to allow the players to warm up that much more. Merciful to the players, but not so much to the fans and the announcers. We should tell you why it is minus 26 degrees Celsius at field level. It isn't that much warmer up here in the press box area. But Peter Watts, being the astute reporter that he has seeked out the story in a warm spot, and he's found it. Let's hit Peter Watts right now.
Dave, you're a very brave soul. How do you feel?
Well, I sort of got some mixed emotions since I know a lot of people on both teams, and Carleton's done well to turn their program around in the last 4 years since I just graduated recently, but it's good to see both teams play well. I wish the weather hadn't been such a factor. Carleton's sort of getting kicked right now.
I don't have a count, Steve. Well, the reason for it is very simple. They are allowing the players to change uniforms. They were wearing sweaty uniforms, and now they have enabled them to change their uniforms and therefore get out of the wet, which would turn to very cold, and get into dry uniforms. And Tuffy Knight, I guess, even for you, having coached for so long, this is kind of uncharted waters. You have never coached in this kind of weather.
I never coached when it was this cold. I have coached in a lot of different situations, rain, mud, and snow, but never this cold. And this is cold. I'll tell you what, I've been cold in my life, but I don't know if I've ever been this cold.
Well,
and I have a few sayings that I could use, but not appropriate for TV.
Well, and it appears as though really the cold has affected Carleton far more. Again, getting back to the idea that it is the same temperature for both teams. Certainly Calgary is playing a warmer football game.
Well, it's like I said, it suits Calgary because of their size and power. They can power and just, that's their style of football, the power. And Carleton style is a little more finesse, and they're not able to do that because the field, they say, is in good condition. It probably is good conditions for this kind of weather, but it's not good conditions according to August. Or September, excuse me.
The teams are back out on the field. They may not want to go, but they are set to go. And we'll be back, as promised, for a while now. We'll be back with the second half in just a moment. Well, just to the right side of your screen, you see the Calgary Dinosaurs moving in. Their football season will not end tonight. They will unquestionably go on to the Vanier Cup for their second appearance. As you look at Doug Nyhoff, a linebacker for that Calgary team, their second appearance in the Vanier Cup for 3 years. Tuffy, thinking back to the team that won it in 1983, how does this team compare?
Well, I don't think this team's as good a football team as it was then, but, who's to say? I really believe that the football, the university football this year, some of the teams were maybe just a shade weaker in some conferences, but Calgary has a solid football team, and they proved tonight that the specialty teams are extremely strong.
And speaking of solid, a solid football man knows where to go to find a warm spot. And our solid football man, Peter Watts, found it.
Was there any doubt?
Oh, no way.
No way.
No way.
Are they going all the way?
They're going all the way. Vanier Cup.
Are you going to Toronto next week?
I sure hope so, yeah. Just scrunch a little money together and I'll go.
And she was particularly happy because she is, as I'm told, a very good friend of Darcy Copp's, who has 2 punt returns for touchdowns tonight and really ignited the second half explosion for the Dinosaurs.
Well, no question, that's what ignited it, but I just give Peter Watts all the credit in the world. He's not a fool, because a fool would have stayed out there, and he didn't stay out in this cold weather. He found a nice, warm little spot to hang out for
Let's
a while.
drop you down in there. Coach Peter Canellan. He's up 45-0. He knows he's going to win. What's he saying?
Well, he says, let's go out there and execute. Go out there and execute, and let's get hold them to nothing, and you know, and show people. Let's get ourselves ready for next week.
Well, that's what Peter Canellan may have been saying. The other side of the field, certainly there aren't many smiles.
Well, Ace is telling his team, let's go out there and play a second half. Let's win the second half. They've won the first half. We'll concede that to them. But let's go out here and win the second half, and let's start building for next year. Now, in Ace Powell, I like I say, I bleed for their coaching staff or any coach that gets in a situation like this. And the situation is he's done an outstanding job with the Carleton Ravens the last 4 years he's been there. And they're going to build for next year, and he's got that program going in the right direction, and they're going to be a contender from now on, because he's an outstanding coach and has an outstanding coaching staff.
Well, let me ask you this, Tuff. There are times when a coach will decide to kick a player in the pants or the team in the pants and give them a pep talk saying you played a disgraceful half, and there are times when they try to get them to block it out. If you were coaching at this time, would you give them the hard sell or the soft sell?
I would not give them the hard sell. No way. You know, why kick a dog when he's down? You know, and they're down now, and they feel bad. They know they haven't performed very well, and they haven't tackled very well in the specialty teams. So why kick them? You know, I just don't feel that. You have a 9-2 season. You lost 2 games by I think 3 points, as you said earlier. So you know, that's nothing to be ashamed about. They're just not quite there yet. That's all. And I never believe in kicking the dog when he's down.
Well, very much intact, and we'll leave the area of dogs and call in Peter Watts, who's made it back from the bar. Tough assignment, Peter, but
dirty job, Michael, but somebody had to do it. There was pretty good atmosphere over there. It's bar at the Keg, not too far away from McMahon Stadium. Pretty good hangout. Second half is underway, and I think Tuffy's right. Let's see whether Carleton can make this a creditable second half performance now.
Stay with us for a second, Peter. We'll chat with you in a moment, but getting things started, that's number 20 for the Calgary Dinosaurs. He is the number 2 quarterback. His name is Rob McNabb. Threw just 20 passes in the regular season. He was 9 of 20, but in last week's playoff game against Manitoba, he was 3 for 3, and I'm told very impressive.
Well, I think that this is a good chance for Coach Canellan to also look for the future. You know, Lorick will be gone next year, so why not give McNabb a little bit of playing time?
Well, the second half starts exactly the way the first half ended. The Calgary defense totally dominating. They wanted to screen it, but Rod Prodanovic didn't allow them to.
Well, the screen was there, but was set up, but Salchuk saw the back start to slide out into the flat, and he just stayed with him, and he was unable to throw the ball to him.
Let's bring Peter Watts in again. Peter, obviously very happy surroundings. They're going to Toronto.
Yes, they are. Well, they're not, and they're a little bit unhappy about it. Some of them would like to be on the plane down to Toronto next Thursday or Friday, but certainly there will be a good contingent going from Calgary to watch the Dinosaurs and the Vanier for the second time in 3 years.
Well, I think they should go and send a bill to President Norm Wagner myself. I know Norm. He used to be at Laurier, and I played tennis with him on numerous occasions. Never as a partner, because the people got together and would let Norm and I be partners, because when we got up to the net and stood side by side, you couldn't get a passing shot by us because we covered the whole court. So we always played as opponents.
You played tennis? We have time to develop this.
Oh, was I a tennis player? You wouldn't believe. No, and Dr. Norm Wagner, the president of Calgary, can verify this. You know, we would argue and throw the rackets at each other and a variety of other things.
I thought you were going to say when you got side by side at the net, people looked at you, they couldn't see over the net. I mean, I thought that's what you were going to say, but obviously that.
No, they could see over the net, but they couldn't get one by us because, like I said, we covered about 95% of the court when we stood side by side.
37-yard kick by Jeff Morris. Nothing on the return, which is an exception to the rule that has been certainly the trend of tonight. Doug Peterson, who already has one really great punt return down to the 1-yard line. And Peterson didn't see a lot of action this year, but obviously when he has, he's been successful. So Calgary now with the ball, the quarterback, and we'll check that out for you. Yes, it is. It is McNabb. The number 2 man now turns number 1 man. And let's see who that is carrying the ball. I don't believe it was Elio Jeremiah. It was Rob Zimmerman. So Coach Peter Canellan decides, Tuffy, as, well, you tell me, would you have done it this way? Would you have put the...
Oh, I think this is great because these players have been around all year, practiced every day, and some of them will be playing as starters for you next year, and this is a chance for them to get a taste of the game and, the Western Bowl, which this is what you build on for next year. No question, I think this is an excellent move.
Well, that's Rob McNabb. Those are his season statistics. 3 for 3 in the one playoff game against Manitoba. And that's Rob Zimmerman. Consider this, that, well, about a month ago, we broadcast a game, UBC and Calgary. The Thunderbirds won at 31-14. Calgary just had an abysmal evening. Since that time, they beat Saskatchewan 19-1 to clinch first place in the West. They then beat Manitoba 52-13 last week for combined scores of 2 games, 71-14. Now they lead 45-0 with 12:24 to play in the third, so they're rolling.
Carleton did a fair job there defensively, but they jumped off sides, so it's going to cost them 5 yards.
Gentlemen, I'm really impressed with the level of execution of the Calgary Dinosaurs in this game.
Well, Peter, I think what it is I said, they don't do anything too fancy, and it's not real finesse. They just power you, and the executions, this weather will suit the execution, and you'll be able to execute a little better in this type of weather with the type of offense that they use. It's more of a power type of football, and they're well coached, and they do execute extremely well.
That shouldn't surprise anyone. Only one sweater retired, Greg Vavra, who set so many CIAU records and now plays in the same city with the Calgary team. That's Tony Spallettini, the blocker, running it on this play. He'll be close to a first down. Vavra led the team to the 1983 Vanier Cup. In fact, you may remember that they won it with a touchdown pass to Mike Shiroshka. That put it away. And Shiroshka also caught the winning touchdown pass in the Western final against UBC from Greg Vavra. Shiroshka still plays. You see him, number 5, just sort of inching his way into your screen. Vavra, of course, does not.
This looks like it's about a second down and maybe a foot. Maybe they're going to have to bring it out and measure. Kip was going to let him run it. He didn't want to take the time to bring the chains out.
Yeah, I think if I'm Tip,
he gave him the first down.
The only thing I worry about is keeping the clock moving. Peter?
You know, Michael, Greg Vavra will have to get himself a tuxedo between now and next Thursday night. He'll be the master of ceremonies for the CIAU Shenley Awards at the Westin Hotel in Toronto, and I talked to him the other day. He's looking forward to that.
Well, if history tells us anything, it likely will be a quarterback, because quarterbacks have dominated that award. Last year, of course, Phil Scarfone, McMaster. As Zimmerman picks up close to 10 yards on the play, as we take one more look.
All right, here we are. Let's watch Spallettini's block there. There's 37. We couldn't see it from that angle, but he cuts back in there and follows 67, the offensive guard, I believe, leaning around the corner, and he's able to cut back up in there. It's a nice gain. It's about a 9.5-yard gain.
Second down and 1 as Calgary keeps it on the ground. They really haven't put the ball in the air at all. That's Zimmerman again. Getting an opportunity, one of his first to play, and shining on this play. Zimmerman down to about the 5.5-yard line. So it seems clear that Calgary's going to put 50 on the boards. If you're a Dinosaur fan, I guess the question starts to become 60.
Okay, here we are again. Let's watch Spallettini's block out here. Watch this block. See, he takes the leg right out from under him. He teach that, take that outside leg away unless you're going to run it inside. That's a great block there by Spallettini to set up the play.
What do you do to stop, not the runner, but how do you stop Tony Spallettini?
You've got to meet him quicker. You've got to come up and meet him quicker and force the ball carrier up inside. If he gets out there and blocks you there, he's going to beat you. So as soon as you read run, you come up and squeeze it down. And they didn't do it. Calgary let the man get to him instead of reacting as soon as you read run, come up and take Spallettini on. And, that's tough. You got to have a little courage to come up and take him on.
As you look at Rob McNabb, didn't see a lot of action, but as Tuffy mentioned, Lou Lornick will not play next year. This is his 5th and final year, so McNabb has a good chance to be the starter. And Zimmerman accelerated. You saw him looking for the end zone, but the Carleton defense denies him the score.
Okay, Carleton did a better job there that time because they forced it back. The defensive back come up and hit Spallettini a little quicker into the backfield. Here we're going to see the instant replay here. And watch the back for Carleton. He'll come up and take Spallettini on there, number 37. Takes him on right there. So he enforces the runner back to the inside, and they had good fill there from number 37, Tomlin. And if you can force it back to the inside, you'll be able to do that.
3rd down and 1. Dinosaurs looking for their 51st point, and they won't get it. The exchange, not a good one. Zimmerman fumbled the ball. 2 newcomers to this game, at least. Zimmerman, the running back, and Rob McNabb, the quarterback, couldn't complete the exchange.
Well, that's a fumble there. Watch. The quarterback here fumbles the ball, hits right in the chest, has a little high, and if you're going to fumble it, you can't pick a better place, because that's down there when the score is 45-0. You fumble on the 1-yard line, and Carlton's got about 109 yards to go, 108 yards to go for the score. So, you know, that's a good time to turn it over if you're going to turn it over.
9:10 to play in the 3rd quarter. And I guess our job is to continue to make this one interesting, and that may be a tough task.
Well, it won't be tough if Carleton can get the ball and move it on offense here.
And again, 45-0 to score. The Carleton Ravens, well, they have the ball in their 2, not good field position, not a good situation. We'll be back with more of the 3rd quarter right after this. And as the score suggests, they're in trouble. Hollins from his end zone lofts it up and in and out of the hands of Doug Peterson. Not a good night for Paolo Hollins.
No, he's played, you know, like a young kid. He's made some mistakes, and this is his first playoff game ever, and actually Carlton's first Western Bowl game ever. And you know, this ball could have been intercepted. He didn't throw that ball with a lot of authority. See the wobble on it, he did, but now it is cold. The balls are cold, and it's going to be difficult.
Tell you what, Tuff, if there are duck hunters out here, some will be shooting at that one.
Well, like I said, he didn't get anything on that ball.
2nd down and 10 for Hollins, ball at the 2-yard line. He wants to go deep. And a better pass. At least this time he didn't underthrow it. He intended for number 76, Joe Barnaby.
Yeah, he threw that ball fairly well there. And, you know, look a little closer, it could have been completed. Here we are. You're throwing it down there deep in your territory in that end zone, you know. But see, he just wings her out there, throws it up high, hope that Barnaby can run under it. And he almost does run under it. You know, that ball's not overthrown that much. See that? Just about a yard there. That's wasn't bad.
What he'd probably really like to run under is a hot shower.
Yeah, a lot of them would.
Well, this has been the most dangerous play of the night for Calgary and Carleton. Not much on the return there for Peterson. Penalty marker down.
I think he slipped or something, went down on one knee, and there's a flag down. I don't know what they're going to call an illegal block here.
That's Mustafa Ali. He is a cornerback for the Carleton team, and he came to training camp as just an outstanding athlete, Ace Powell said, but they didn't have room for him as a wide receiver, his natural position, so they figured they made him the cornerback. Well, Dolly got hurt. John Dolly got hurt, and they decided to move Ali to wide receiver as well, so he now plays both ways.
Okay, here's the block right there. See, 38 blocks him in the back. That's Ali, I believe. No, number 9. That he blocks him in the back there for Carleton, and that's an illegal block. You can't do that. There's the ball laying on the ground again. I believe Carleton might have. No, yeah. Uh-oh. I thought Carleton was going to pick it up, and number 61 was going to. Yeah, they picked it up, but I thought 61 was going to scoop it up and go for the touchdown. You know, it's amazing, Michael. The brakes are coming now to Carleton, and it's too late.
I guess at one time this could have been a huge turnover. We could have said that may turn the game around, but it won't.
Watch Harley here. Watch the ball come loose. There it comes scooting out there. What? There he sees it. Right there, look. That's a big old lineman. He'd like to pick that up a little cleaner and went scooting down the field.
John Hurley with a bright spot on a dismal evening. Hollins on the option, keeps it this time, has 3 yards.
You know, gentlemen, we had a chance to watch the University of Calgary out in Vancouver a month or so ago against the Thunderbirds, and you wouldn't know that it's the same team playing in this game tonight. Much tougher conditions, a creditable opponent, I think you can say, for the Carleton Ravens, certainly on the basis of what they've shown us so far. And yet Calgary has played so very well, and the execution level, as I mentioned earlier, has been outstanding given the conditions.
Hollins now with a 2nd and 7, and I don't know how they drew it on the blackboard, Tuff, but I don't imagine they did it that way.
I don't think so. And it looks like maybe Carleton is signaling that they have the
Calgary ball. Dino ball, or Dino ball. believe it may have been Jeremiah who picked it up.
Okay, here we are on the play. Let's watch it. See, that's what happens when you pitch it out like that. I said last week, and I would repeat this, and I don't say it critical, but Holland has got to work a little more on things going to his left. He has a little trouble with things going to his left, the option and things of that nature. And that pitch here was not a very good pitch.
That was Kent Warnock, big defensive end you saw on the bench who made the recovery on the field. Rob McNabb and the fumble. So, well, the last three. This one may be returned. This may get them on the scoreboard. Let's see. Brought down from behind and fumbling the ball. And
but the ball was blown dead. The ball was blown dead.
They possibly should do the same for the game. Let's check out the replay, and about a week from now, the replay will be over.
All right, here we are. This looks kind of normal. See the pitch there again. Spallettini, they knocked the ball loose. Spallettini, there it comes loose.
That's 3 fumbles.
And it's like catching, it's trying to pick up a greased pig, you know. And he finally picks it up there, and he's looking for some help blocking, and he had some help if he, but he's get caught behind. Spallettini's the guy that fumbled the ball, comes up and makes the play from behind. Now, we got a flag on the play. I don't know what that is, but it could be roughing on either team because I think there was a little frustration going on there.
Dave Dawson was the man who picked it up eventually. It took a while. And, Tuffy, I'd just like to go back to something you said earlier on. When was the last time you picked up a greased pig?
Oh, well, let's see. I think it was 1954. I think it was. You can catch it. That used to be us. That's a rough play against Calgary, so it even takes it down there closer. That used to be one of the things they used to do at the festivals and stuff, and probably out here in Klondike days or things of that nature, is catch a greased pig in an alley or something like that. That's not that's something you never heard of. Well, you are kind of limited on some of the finer points.
Kind of looks like it's out of focus, Tuff. We'll get back to my limitations in a second. The reason for that is not that it's out of focus, but that the heat waves, whatever heat there is in the booth, is kind of clouding the camera. So our cameraman doing a good job, but just no way of really getting it in focus. Hollins looked into the end zone, and I guess we shouldn't be surprised with the result. Incomplete. He's now not only having problems completing the passes, but also the laterals.
Well, that's one of Carleton's favorite plays down here on the goal line is the slant-end pass on that. And Calgary played it extremely well. The defensive back just stepped up one step, and they had a little bit of contact there, and he has a right to be there. And he knocked stepped up in front of the receiver, and he wasn't able to run the pattern.
Hollins now 2nd down and 5, and goal from the 5. Clark Oliver. Well, he didn't make it in, but it was not as a result of a lack of effort. Oliver was 2nd and 3rd effort, still couldn't get in, so I'll take the ball down to the 3. It'll be 3rd down and goal. And Tuff, maybe you go back in punt formation and kick a single.
All right, here we are here on this. It's just a power play here. But they reach across right there. I can't see exactly who that was for Calgary, but he reached across. The man had a block on him, and he was just tall enough. That's where your height comes in and reaches over.
3rd down. Let's see if Carleton finally can get on the scoreboard. Ball at the 3, into the end zone, and no, they don't. A perfect pass by Paulo Hollins. Unquestionably his best toss of the day, intending it for Leo Benvenuti, I believe, or was that Joe Barnaby? I guess it was Joe Barnaby.
Yeah. And he ended up in a snowbank. Here we are. He delivers a play. He's got pressure on him. Watch. 32 for Calgary comes in and delivers a shot on him just as he releases the ball. And that was Darcy Kopp. And the ball hits Barnaby right in the hands. Catchable football on a good dry day, good warm day. He catches that ball. Watch Kopp puts great pressure on him there. And he threw the ball, like I say, extremely well for that kind of pressure. It's catchable.
I don't think it was the defensive back that intimidated the receiver there, but the snow in front of him. Well, Calgary clearly content now to try to move the clock along as quickly as possible. That is not one of the men who started the game. Number 20 is the number 2 quarterback, Rob McNabb, and he is surrounded by players who didn't start the game. Both coaches agreed that they would start or dress 38 players for this playoff game, so there are more substitutes available than generally is the case in the CIAU. That's Zimmerman. And the Carleton defense coming up, and obviously Tuffy now aware that they are going to continue to run the ball. Peter?
Michael, I think it's important to note here that the Carleton Ravens this season have had more success than any other edition of the Ravens in the 43-year history of football at the university. This is a disappointing ending to this season, there's no question about that, but it doesn't take away from the fact that the team will finish up with a very, very fine record for the year. There's at least 19 other teams that would like to have done as well. And if Ace Powell can keep this veteran squad together another year, they may do what Calgary did last year, and that is lose the semifinal and come back and make a big challenge for the Vanier next season.
And certainly Ace won't point to excuses, but the weather has to be a factor. Tough to come out west and contend with this kind of weather.
Well, it's the first time they've been there, so it's tough for these young kids to come up here and do this. And this is what, like I said, if you check back the record over the last 10 years, I would like to have someone do that if possible, and find out if how many times the visiting team has won. Very few times. I'll bet you the percentage is very, very low on when a visiting team wins.
Coming up, November the 27th at 8 p.m. Eastern. And they run the reverse to Leo Benvenuti, and that may have been their crispest? Yes, crispest execution of the night.
You could probably say that a little plainer, but your lower lip is frozen.
Me and Tip Logan.
Tip's whistle stuck to his lip, froze, but I don't know if they... Here we are on this. This is the trap play. Watch, 55 there comes out and runs it. Pretty good job of running right here.
And Tyler Robinson just brought him down, denying him the score. Carleton's been down here a few times where they have nothing to show for it.
Joe McDonald did a good job leading the play there.
Mark Skidmore to the right side, and again, the size of that defensive line and linebackers, that was Nyhoff and Wade Buteau in to make the stop.
Well, the linebacker is stopping their option play. The inside linebacker is doing a good job on that inside option play. And, you know, when he's doing that, getting out there that quick, you have to run right at him. But I don't know if Calgary has the size to run right at him.
Carleton now second down and goal from the 5. The option, that is Mark Brown, and Brown will go in uncontested that time. Finally, the option works the way it was designed to. They fooled him on that play, and they come up with a 6. Doesn't do a whole lot, but it certainly improves the look of the scoreboard.
Okay, this is the counter option, see, and they maybe should have run that a little more, see, because that keeps those inside linebackers at home. And that's a good job there on the counter option, and Holland runs that well. Holland, for a first-year guy, he does a pretty good job.
Tuffy, you were talking about Holland having trouble going to his left. He looked a lot sharper coming to the right side of the formation that time and getting the ball out to Brown smartly in a way that he could handle it.
Well, that's what I said. Holland, he's a young kid, and to run what they are running offensively, it's tough to teach a kid to do it both sides. You say, well, if you can do it to the right, you ought to be able to do it to the left. That's not true. And next year, he'll get the left side down, and this will make him a better quarterback. He does it reasonably well to the left, but not as crisp and sharp.
Carleton going for the 2-point conversion, and, well, the fumble on the exchange cost them any opportunity at all. So Carleton has something to smile about. Not much. The score is still 45-6, but at least the Ravens get into the end zone. Sometimes if you figure it out by quarters, it can be meaningful. Not tonight, because Calgary leads the football game 45-6, but if you consider the third and the first quarters, Carleton won those two. Number 44 for the Carleton Ravens, that's Kerry McCowell, being helped off the field.
Yeah, he's limping there, and he's probably one of their better offensive linemen. And like I said, right now you get a little nick or an injury, and because of the cold, it makes it seem a little worse than what it is.
Well, the left side of that line, McDonald, McCowell, and McCarroll, they call them the McHogs, but they haven't really dined out tonight.
Well, like I said, they're young, and they're going to be better. They're going to be better. Once you get a successful program and get it makes recruiting a little easier if you can say we've been to the Western Bowl. So that's going to help Carleton.
Quick scoring drive for the Ravens. They're only one of the game, and the only one back is Doug Peterson. But he's been more than enough for Calgary. And Peterson again breaks a couple of tackles. So tonight, more than any other game this season, the Calgary specialty teams have come alive. 20 yards of the return for Peterson, who has a 66-yard punt return to his credit. Down to the 2-yard line. And trotting in for the Calgary Dinosaurs, Randy Halstead. He's the oldest player on the Dinosaurs at age 29. Last year he was playing in the Beer League well, he's now 30 years old. When he was 29, he was playing at the Beer League, and he played well. And they said, go out for the team, go out for the Dinosaurs, you can play. He did, and they were correct. Good ball handling there by McNabb. He fooled everybody.
Well, he fooled a lot of people. I think what it is, I think he missed the handoff. I don't know. I could maybe check and see if that plays in Calgary's playbook or not, but I'll bet you he missed the handoff.
Let's take a look at it again.
Our spotter says it is in the playbook. Let's see here. Oh, no, it was a broken play. Yeah. He's supposed to do that?
No, he missed the handoff.
Broken play, handoff, okay. That looked like a broken play to me.
The Dinosaurs with 232 yards rushing. Not much passing. But as Tuffy said, in weather like this, power of football does it, and you don't necessarily have to pass to be successful.
Well, he's going to be about a half a yard short for the first down, Michael, and I don't know, Coach Cannella might punt the ball.
That was Zimmerman on the carry, who has come in to replace Elio Jeremiah. We'll get his final statistics. We think they'll be final because there really isn't any reason to put him back in this football game. Jeremiah had an outstanding first half. He and the punt returners. And I guess you'd have to credit the offensive line as we take a look at the final statistics for Elio Jeremiah. On just 15 carries, Jeremiah having a great football game. 15 carries for 170 yards and 3 touchdowns. Last week, he had 174 yards on just a number of carries. So it has really been a great postseason for Elio Jeremiah.
This is going to be a first down, Michael, I believe.
But Tuff, you said it was a half yard
Well,
short.
I was looking on this side of the field. They switched the sticks on me, see? They took them from the first half they were on this side of the field, and the second half they moved them to the other side, and I was looking at the wrong stick. They all look alike to me. I think they're icicles.
First down for the Calgary Dinosaurs. This is the Western Bowl on TSN. The winner today, and it likely will be this team, the Calgary Dinosaurs, will go on to the Vanier Cup. Dinosaurs won it 2 years ago. Lost a heartbreaker last year to Guelph, but this year the heart gets mended a bit. Rob Zimmerman out of bounds at about the 37-yard line. But the Dinosaurs will be charged with illegal procedure.
Yeah, we got an illegal procedure call there. Step off 5 yards and get him back in the huddle and get him out.
You know, guys, the Calgary Dinosaurs used that disappointing effort against the University of Guelph last year in the semifinal as one of their prime motivations for this season, and it seems to have carried them along very well. They are determined to finish the job that got interrupted last November when they ran into the Griffins and lost a tough ball game down at Guelph.
Well, I think, Peter, sometimes, disappointments like that and losses, you have to gain from them, and I can think back, the Pittsburgh Steelers won about 3 Super Bowls in a row, and they had to have, the coach said once, I heard him say this, he had to have a few losses in order to bring them back to reality and get them to work hard again. And that loss at Guelph probably made Calgary come in this year and work just a little harder at the football program.
McNabb intending that one for Mark Steele, who's now in at one of the slot back positions, and Peter Calleton has made major changes, allowing all his players to get a taste of the action, which is as much for those players as it is for the starters. It's a cold night, and with the game out of reach, why waste any talent for next week? The Carleton defensive line did the job there. They sacked McNabb on second down, so he'll now be forced to punt it away. It'll be third down and an awful lot.
Yeah, I think it's number 66, John Oresti, comes in here. It's a safety blitz. 28 comes through first, and he jumps over top. He ducks under it. Watch. Good job there, and then Oresti comes in and cleans it up. But the safety blitz, the safety should never leave your feet on pass rush like that, but the quarterback did a good job. McNabb did a good job ducking under the first man.
You say he shouldn't leave his feet, but in every league, on every team, players do that.
Well, they should.
It's wrong, but they do, don't they?
Right.
No matter how much you tell them, they do that.
Well, you got to keep going over it, go over it and over it. I don't think you can stress that too much and go over it too many times.
This is Benvenuti and another penalty marker down. McElroy again on the tackle.
It's going to be a no yards, I believe, on Calgary.
McElroy has made almost every tackle on specialty teams for the Dinosaurs, so they're playing it well on both sides of the specialty teams. And unless this penalty is accepted, and if it is accepted, the third quarter won't end. If it isn't, it will end. Time has expired. And they'll take the penalty, so the third quarter will painfully be extended. He's dressed for the weather. Leo Benvenuti saying, just get the game over with.
Well, like I said, see, the ground gets a little hard and it's cold, and the muscles, unless you keep them really warm, this is a good time to cramp up or to pull a muscle.
The unfortunate thing about the game at this stage is that there isn't a person who wants to keep playing out there now. The game is decided. It is awfully cold, and if you missed our opening to start of the show, we spoke with the Calgary Meteorological Office, that is, and
one of them anyway, Mike.
Right, and they said the temperature 26 degrees below Celsius, and with a wind of 20 miles per hour.
And it's getting colder, too. It was colder than that at halftime when I was downstairs. It's about minus 30. I recall when I lived in Edmonton, the temperature dived down to minus 30 one time early in January in 1978. Stayed there for 6 weeks. They were selling T-shirts to people saying, I survived the deep freeze. So I hope it warms up a little sooner than 6 weeks here in Calgary as we start the fourth quarter. Certainly, you're right. Both teams want to get this finished, get off the field.
And Hollins throws a good pass this time. And completes it. And then breaking a tackle. Number 74 on the reception. That was Danny Massey in playing tight end now. So Ace Powell also making changes, also giving all of his players a taste of the action as the third quarter comes to an end. Tyler Robinson not able to make the tackle on that one. That does it for the third quarter. A quarter that, and this won't mean much to Carleton, but a quarter that they won. They scored the lone touchdown, 45-6 at the end of 3. Well, if the chant before the game was "Go Dinosaurs Go," it now likely will be "Go Clock Go." We are now 1 minute into the fourth quarter. The Ravens with a couple of opportunities to get into the end zone. They couldn't do it. It'll now be 3rd down and 7. And that is certainly, if anything, wishful thinking. I guess whatever keeps you warm, Tuff.
I forgot where I was. I thought I was in the sunny south. I really didn't realize it because I don't feel anything. My body's numb. And I saw that sunshine. I thought I was laying on that beach.
Ball O'Hollins now, 3rd down and goal to go from the 7-yard line. Wants Benvenuti in the end zone, or Barnaby that is, and Barnaby has the ball. So the Carleton Ravens get the lone score of the third quarter, and they get now, the first score of the fourth quarter.
Okay, here's a good play by Holland. Watch, he's got pretty good protection there. Oliver could have come up and made that play. He just throws it up high. And when a man's that wide open like that and he's behind him, you throw it up high and make sure the guy, you don't overshoot him and he catches the ball.
And Scott Laydell now in playing defensive back for the Calgary Dinosaurs.
Well, he got a little bit, Barnaby got behind him there, and Holland did a good job of just laying it up there nice so it wasn't overthrown, and it's catchable.
Well, Dexton Blackstock started there, but they put Laydell in and doing big substitutions. And they go back over Laydell again, and that is a fine pass and a fine reception. Paolo Hollins to Joe Barnaby, and they get the 2-point conversion, and that now gives them 14 points on the night. Certainly not enough, not by a long shot, but it has to feel good for Ace Powell, at least to get his team into the end zone. 45-14, the Dinosaurs lead it. And we'll be back with the rest of the fourth quarter to see if the Carleton Ravens can continue to move the ball, put points on the board. They aren't going to win it, but we'll see how close it'll be. Well, that is the big statistic, 45-16. Here are, I guess, the secondary statistics. Still yards rushing for Calgary, the dominant characteristic, 235. There's 28 yards passing, but they haven't really attempted much in the way of pass. That's Elio Jeremiah back into the football game and now out of bounds. But Tuffy, it is misleading to suggest that Carleton or that Calgary maybe didn't play a good third quarter. They, I think, are playing a very conservative offense, desperately not trying to rub it in.
Well, there's no question on that. Coach Cannellan's playing some young kids, and the young kids are playing hard and the best they can, but he's giving them a chance to play, and Carleton has taken advantage of the young Liddell over there at the cornerback spot and completed a couple passes on him, but I think this is good that the young kids get to play.
And here's maybe why you don't put your best player in when you're up by that many points, because Elio Jeremiah appears to be favoring an arm. It's Rob Zimmerman. We'll try to get a shot of Jeremiah down on the bench there. You see Jeremiah kind of struggling, making his way to the bench, and you don't like to see a guy with his team up by 31 points going to the Vanier Cup get injured needlessly.
See what happens on that, Michael. He sat there on the bench the whole third quarter, so he's cold. No matter what he's doing on the bench, he's cold. But probably on their kickoff return team, they probably haven't used a lot of these backup guys on the kickoff return team, so they had to put the regulars back in there on the kickoff return. And Jeremiah's too cold. He comes in there, and that's and he could have hurt an elbow or an arm there a little bit, and they certainly don't want that with having to play next week in the Vanier Cup.
We won't say anything about this. Rob Zimmerman out close to a first down. That second quarter really said it all.
Here we are, West Ballatini's block here again. He's going to kick out. The guard pulled out. Guard did a good job pulling out, but he didn't maintain his block there. Number 47, Barden, didn't maintain his block. He hit it and made contact and then bounced off. If he'd have stayed on the man, the play would have been a lot more successful, but it was good enough to get the first down.
This is Canadian College Football on TSN. We offer all kinds of Canadian college sports, and we'll tell you about that in a moment. We can tell you that Calgary has a first down. That's Zimmerman getting a lot of work. Obviously, Pete Cannellan wants to see what he has to offer. And what we have to offer in the way of CIAU information is every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Peter Watts scans the CIAU, all kinds of sports, not just football. This week he'll concentrate seriously on the Vanier Cup, but each week, full roundup of hockey and basketball and whatever else is topical. That's the CIAU, Canadian College Magazine, on TSN with Peter Watts. Number 2 man, Rob McNabb, getting a chance to be number 1. Screen pass to Zimmerman. One tackle, and he breaks it. And they'll have a clipping call. And Tuffy, as we watch the replay, you're not going to like that one. And if I've learned anything by working with you for 6 games now, you're going to say that's a needless clip. Should never have made it. Am I right?
Well, you're right, because it was not necessary. It did not help at all, and he didn't need to block. Excellent job of setting up the screen pass here. Watch it. Now we're going to see it to the left of the screen. Good job of making the man miss right there. Okay, see there? I'm not sure that's discipline right there,
Rob Braden.
Braden, he did that, and I'm not sure the man would have made the tackle, but if he had what you've gained on the play, you've lost a good portion of it here by taking the clip. And like I said, it takes discipline to when you're in that position, to back off and not make the block.
Well, he had the first down, so the penalty will move it 15 yards back, but the first down stands for Calgary. And they aren't going to pass the ball. They're just going to apparently continue giving the ball to Rob Zimmerman, getting an opportunity to play and playing pretty well. Gain of close to 9. It'll be 2nd down and 1.
Well, that's just a power sweep there, and a play that they've run quite a bit tonight.
So the Dinosaurs just trying to allow the clock to wind down and start thinking about the Vanier Cup. They're going. The only question that remains is what will the final score be? And first down for Zimmerman.
Well, see, Calgary's formation here, Michael, is a power type of formation. They have 2 tight ends, which is something that probably is almost unheard of today in a lot of football, because it's a power type position, and maybe, I don't know if they've been doing that before tonight, but that's a running type of formation. 2 tight ends and that are up there in a position that they can block.
Rob Zimmerman is a rookie, first year, and he backed up both slot back and tailback, and Tony Spallettini was the starter at fullback. Spallettini now with a chance to show his speed, but this one, I think, is going to come back as well. Pushed out of bounds at the 1-yard line, but I think we're going to have another blocking infraction. And Spallettini is a blocker, but also has some speed.
Well, he broke some tackles there on that play and did a good job of running the football. But there was a clip on the play, so they're bringing the thing back from about the 27-yard line, and it'll be a first down from there, but I think there's going to be a penalty. All right, here we are on the play. Spallettini, he breaks it. Look at that. Watch this. That's just an outstanding job there of running with the football. You got to tackle, you know, and Carleton has not done very well at that this evening, and they have not been crisp. And Calgary's tough because their backs are short, and they're powerful in the legs, and you have to tackle them. Spallettini did an excellent job there of breaking some tackles and just ran over top of some people.
You see his statistics for the season. He is more a blocker than anything else. He blocks for Jeremiah. They blocked together, or they played together at St. Francis High School under Gary DeMann, and DeMann said that when Spallettini came, he always had the size, always could be a great blocker, but is just starting to turn into a runner. Intended for Mike Shiroshka. Interestingly, Jeremiah came to him, and when he tried out in grade 10, DeMann said that he wanted to cut him, but he sort of looked into his eyes and said, the effort's there, and maybe this kid could play, and by grade 11, he was the star.
Well, that's the key. You have to have that desire to play, and and Jeremiah's small as far as height is concerned, but like I said, he's very powerful in the legs, and he's got good speed, so he can play in this league. No question about that.
That's Steve Posey in now, replacing the man who replaced, or actually he's moved into the fullback position, Tony Spallettini. Hands that clutch. Mike Shiroshka caught the game-winning touchdown pass in the 1983 Vanier Cup, also in the 1983 Western Championship game. So he's one of the men they turn to, have for a number of years when they need a big reception. You were talking about, and to quote you, Tuffy, you said Jeremiah can play in this league. That's obvious, but he can play. Can he play in the other league, the CFL?
Well, that's hard to say at this time, I'm sure he's going to be drafted, and he'll be looked at. He may be looked at as a slot back a little more so than a running back in a CFL, but he has a chance, there's no question.
Oh, he runs a 4.5 40, which is good speed by anybody's standards.
Well, if he has the hands to catch the football, I'm sure he'll be looked at as a slot back.
And Brent Maddock tries the field goal from 37 yards out, and Maddock put his hands up right away, and now Tip Logan puts his up to confirm it. 37-yard field goal. That makes it 48-14. The Calgary Dinosaurs going to the Vanier Cup. Cold night, but a warm feeling for these Dinosaurs as they prepare to make their second appearance in the Vanier Cup in 3 seasons. That's the score now. We'll find out what the final score will be in just a moment. All but 3 of those points for the Dinosaurs came in the second quarter. In fact, over the final 10 minutes of the second quarter, an explosion like Tuffy Knight says he has never seen before. They scored 45 times in the second quarter to blow the Western Bowl open.
Well, I hope Calgary doesn't continue to pass the ball because they stopped the clock on the incomplete pass. So I don't want them to stop it too much.
And we'll have a holding call as Hollins puts it into the hands of his receiver. Number 74, Danny Massey, making his second catch. Didn't start, but he's caught the ball as well as anyone for this Carleton team.
Well, I think what's going to happen, they're going to call holding or bring it back and play it over again.
And not start the clock, right, Tuff?
That's exactly right.
Well, if you're wondering why we're so anxious to start the clock, it's the temperature. Close to minus 30. That's minus 30 Celsius. It's a great effort to squeeze a smile out there.
Oh, it's tough. It's tough. I smile, my jaws will crack.
It was holding.
The only reason they're not frozen completely shut is because I've been talking so much. That's the only reason, too. If I could do something for my feet now, I'd be okay.
Well, I'm not sure why they have taken time out, but if we can move one booth over and commandeer the scoreboard, maybe we can do something about the time. 8:16 to play. And we'll be back to see what transpires and how quickly they can run the clock out. But here's the score. The Dinosaurs going to the championship game. Well, they have had plenty to cheer about, and I guess maybe cheering is the best way to stay warm. The Calgary Dinosaur cheerleaders don't look like they're doing a particularly job staying warm. That's Paulo Hollins looking deep. And in and out of the hands of a couple of Calgary defenders. Initially, it slid out of the hands of number 35. That was Tyler Robinson, then out of the hands of Scott Ladell. So Carleton now will kick it away. 8:10 to play in the fourth quarter. How were the toes? How were the feet there, Tuff?
I don't know. They're just like...
No, not your feet. I was talking about the feet of quarterback Paulo Hollins.
His feet were okay, but...
but yours aren't doing too well,
mine's
right?
not so hot, no. Uh-oh. They're going to get roughing the kicker. So Carleton's going to maintain possession here.
It was kind of a good-natured roughing the kicker. The contact was made by number 72, I believe it was.
Oh, they may not have the first down, though, because they got third down and 20. I don't... that's only a 15-yard penalty, isn't it?
Well, if it's roughing...
It's automatic.
It's an automatic first down,
Yeah, so
right?
it's automatic. Yeah,
right.
Okay.
Tip Logan does his best to raise the foot off the ground. Can't be an easy chore for Tip.
Not for Tip, no.
Dean Lang was the one that made the contact with Jeff Morris. First down for Carleton. That's the good news.
On the 40-yard line, let her roll.
Well, I think our biggest problem right now is the fact that the man that operates the scoreboard is in a heated booth. He does not have a vested interest in speeding up the game.
I'm going to go over there and start talking to him. I'm going to, say some sweet things to him. Now, this is all right. Carleton may take it right down the score here.
Reverse. Not a successful reverse, but a reverse. Ball carrier Mark Reed.
Number 70, Dean Lang, stayed at home for Calgary. Just did an outstanding job of staying at home. Didn't leave, and that's what you're supposed to do. Stay home and check. All right, here we are. Let's watch. You see the reverse. Good fake to the right, and it comes on. When I watch Lang's going to come right into the picture. He's responsible for that. See, he didn't fight for that. He didn't fake him. He stayed right there and stayed home and did what he's supposed to do.
Let me ask you, when you coach your linebacker, you say you're supposed to stay there. They start moving to the right. Why shouldn't the linebacker start to pursue? How do you get him to...
He's responsible. The outside linebacker on this side is responsible for reverses.
So he's not supposed to go with the play.
No.
That's a lateral. And Clark Oliver trying to dodge the tackle, but Dean Lang, as Tuffy says, staying at home again and making the tackle.
That's exactly what he's supposed to do. He stays home on the reverses. Backfield, man comes down the backfield on a flare pattern. He drops back, covers a flat. That's his area of responsibility on passes. The flat coverage on this side. He come up and made a great play. He's made two outstanding plays there.
He's had a big night and has to be it's been a huge night for the Calgary Dinosaurs. Carleton is a good football team. Peter Cannellan said they are, as he figured, the best team that his club had played all season long. The scoreboard wouldn't indicate that, but the scoreboard has to be footnoted with a number of things.
They are a good football team. Like I said, it's just a shame that things have not worked out for them. But here's a timeout, I guess.
They're going to take a timeout, and so are we. You see the score. The scoreboard says 6:44 to play in the Western Bowl. CIAU on TSN. Okay, let's go down to field level and talk to Peter Watts. Peter? Oh, apparently he doesn't have his microphone.
Peter got some warm clothes on, I see.
Yeah. And this one will be called back. But this one, like all the other punt returns, it seems successful in terms of the return for Darcy Kopp. 2 touchdowns on the night. Darcy Kopp, the star of this football game. One of them.
They're going to call no yards on that, Michael, and they're not going to gain a whole lot on it because they're only going to gain about 2 yards because they returned it about 13 yards.
Kopp would probably like to have him keep the 13-yard return and add to his numbers, although they are going to do that. They're going to give up a yard or two and take the penalty and give Darcy Kopp the yardage. Tough, you don't look pleased about that. You say take the extra 2 yards.
Certainly.
A traditional football man, Tuffy does. This is our final broadcast of the season on TSN. It has been a pleasure for me in a number of respects, covering the CIAU, doing play-by-play for the first time, and also sitting beside you, Tuff.
Well, it's been fun, and we've had a good time. We've had some great football games. We've seen some great talent out there and some excellent execution. And I enjoyed it, and hope we can do it again.
Under, shall we say, warmer circumstances.
Well, yeah, you can't have, you got to have a little bitter with the sweet. You can't have sweet all the time, and it's pretty sweet you getting set by me, so, you know, you can't have all good things.
Lucky they turned off my mic for a second, or I may have had a response. Let's talk a bit about next week and the Vanier Cup and the Calgary Dinosaurs. As we see, that's Rob Zimmerman, running back, down on the field. As we talk about the Vanier Cup, Toffee, no matter who Calgary plays, they have to be certainly at least even money to win it.
Oh, no question. Like I said, they've been there before, and the experience that you get from going to those things definitely pays off, and they're going to play either Mount Allison or Western, and if they play Mount Allison has been there before. So, well, we got some nuts around here. I thought we just had them in certain parts of the country, but I can see they got some out here too, and they got to be mentally retarded. Their mother and father must have been cousins to be doing stuff like that.
I think I'll lay off that, Tough.
Oh.
Rob Zimmerman helped off the field. That's Rob McNabb, the number 2 quarterback, who put the ball in the air one of the rare times. He takes a shot in the backfield and overthrows his receiver. But getting back to, you talk about the experience of having played in the Vanier Cup. Coaches will say, yes, that experience plays a factor. Put it tangible for us, Tuffy. What does it mean?
Well, it means, you know, you've been there before, so you know what to expect. And, you know, there's a lot of festivities going on during Vanier Cup week. And if you've been there before, you're able to say, well, you know, we've been here before, we've seen that before, and you don't get wrapped up in all the festivities, and you can concentrate on football.
And that's what Calgary will have the opportunity to do. They're going to the Vanier Cup, champions of the West, now champions of the Western Bowl. Not really champions of that punting play. Being kind of gently massaged out of bounds is Jim Perkins by Tyler Robinson. And Carleton will scrimmage the ball from the 8-yard line. 50-yard kick, got a good bounce. Nothing on the return. But the big statistic right now, 5:19 to play in the football game. As you see, well, what is disappointing certainly to Calgary officials, not many people in the crowd, and the reason for that, well, it's very simple. The temperature, minus 26 degrees Celsius at game time, now approaching the minus 30 mark. And the brave few that have attended the game, you see, and certainly appear to have enjoyed it. Hollins lays it up for Barnaby, and, well, that could go either way, offensive or defensive interference.
No,
Judge?
That's defensive, Michael.
Well, you watch on the replay and tell me initially if Barnaby pushes off.
Well, if we can see it.
Barnaby will be at the bottom of your screen, number 76. I don't know whether we can see it. No, you couldn't see it there.
He was trying to cut back because the ball was underthrown, and
Brent Bodker on him.
Bodker was trying to cover there, and the ball was underthrown. On that pass there, you have to throw it over the outside shoulder of the receiver, and then you have a chance to catch it, or it's going to be incomplete or out of bounds, and that was not thrown well.
Now in a quarterback, well, still Paulo Hollins. I thought they would make a change, but they had Mustafa Ali makes his first reception of the night. Not a long one, but a reception. 8 of 4. 2nd and 6. Wayne Buto on the tackle.
Buto's had a good night tonight. He's an outstanding linebacker. I think he was All-Canadian last 2 years, and he has a good chance of making it this year again.
Okay, Tough, you're coaching against the Calgary Dinosaurs in the Vanier Cup. how do you prepare your defense? What do you get them to do?
You got to stop the run, the power of Spalatini's blocking, and
Now, this is unbelievable. This is Darcy Kopp looking for his third touchdown and making his third touchdown. Darcy Kopp on the interception, his third touchdown of the night. 2 on punt returns. Now he adds an interception for the score. Great night for Kopp. Great night for the Dinosaurs.
Okay, here
Not
we are
a great
here.
night for
Watch
Paulo
out.
Hollins.
See, look at his left foot. His left foot was pointing towards the sideline. He can't get anything on the ball. That he didn't get his shoulder squared up at all. He was throwing towards the sideline, and Kopp was able to step in front of the receiver and make the reception. Now, I know that he didn't read that. You're supposed to be reading that inside safety on that play, and he was not reading him there.
A happy bench, a cold one, but still a happy one.
Michael, I just heard a rumor here that Darcy Kopp is going to be the game's MVP for this game, and I can understand why. Anybody who scores 3 touchdowns is playing defense. He better be. He sounds like he's pretty valuable to me.
Brent Maddock has been a busy man, mostly on conversions. That is conversion number, little quick addition here, I believe that's number 7. 55th point of the game as you see Darcy Kopp, the MVP of the Western Bowl. 3 touchdowns, 2 on punt returns, 1 on the interception. A night to remember for Darcy Kopp and the Dinosaurs.
Well, this is usually a little ceremony that they present the trophy and the award out on the field, but I'm sure that they'll do it inside tonight. And like I said, he scored 3 touchdowns and just had an outstanding game.
No Peter Watts comments this time. That is, of course, not Peter Watts dressed up in that outfit. Peter has joined us in the booth and has kind of made his way across the campus, joining some of the TSN viewers watching the game at some of the bars and local establishments, enjoying it in warmer surroundings than certainly are being experienced out here. Milan Marjanovic will tee it up. He is, he's listed as a backup offensive lineman, but he is their number 1 kickoff man, and that has meant a lot of work tonight with all the touchdowns being scored.
Yeah, he's kicked a few tonight.
That's Mark Brown, and he kind of slips and falls out of the 22. Rob Braden, the first man down, to make the tackle. And that's Mitch McElroy, who has been really outstanding on specialty teams and coverage for the Calgary Dinosaurs tonight. 55-14, 3:59 to play in the football game. They tend to tell you to talk about it in terms of the fourth quarter because there is always the potential for overtime in the playoffs, but let's say there's 3:52 left in the game.
I wouldn't dispute that.
Now that's something for a former coach to admit that it's over. You know, the impressive thing for Peter Cannellan and Calgary has to be their preparation. They're facing a team playing the triple option for the first time this year, and they're playing against a team that plays the run and shoot. Yet, on very, very few occasions has this Calgary defense been fooled.
No, they've stayed home and played the positions and covered extremely well. And they've taken Carleton's offense away from them.
Ace Powell, that man you're looking there, the coach of Carleton, said that the one thing he thought he might be able to do is fool them. He said, you know, they're not used to our kind of football. Well, they appear to be pretty well accustomed to it tonight.
Well, you know, it's tough to fool them, like I said, on this field because of the weather conditions.
That's Mark Brown, and the weather really has detracted from what his performance could have been. Ian James on the tackle.
I think it's going to be very close to a first down. It's either going to be, you know, half a yard short or make it by half. And I wonder if Tip Logan, he's going to bring him in. I thought he might signal one way or the other without bringing the chains in.
2:59 now to play. We have nudged our way under the 3-minute mark. Okay, you talked about how you would defense Calgary, taking away Jeremiah. And, well, on the other side of the ball, if you had to face that Calgary defense, what would you try to exploit? And how would you get around the fact that their defensive line is so big and strong?
Well, I think you got to match up, try to match up strength-wise, and if you can, you got a chance. If you can't, you're going to get whipped. And, I think that it would be difficult, I think, for Mount Allison to try to match up because they're not very big. University of Western Ontario will have a better chance probably because of size, and they can match up a little better against Calgary as far as size is concerned.
Okay, now what team would have a better opportunity to exploit that defense? A team that ran the ball well or passed it well?
I think you can run against them a little bit. If you're a good team, and Western's a strong running football team.
Well, strong running is what we saw there by Mark Skidmore. It was 3rd down and inches, and he made yards, about 10 of them. They give Carleton the first down, and more importantly, keep the clock moving. 2:39 to play in this football game. It's the Western Bowl. And as Peter Watts was alluding to earlier, no matter what happens for Carleton, it has been a memorable year for that team. Not a memorable night, but a memorable season. They were outstanding over the regular season. And as mentioned, their 2 previous losses by a total of 3 points. And they try to kind of work the alley-oop to Joe Barnaby.
Well, see, Holland has not thrown the ball now. Well, they just kind of look like he's laying it in his hand, and throwing it out there, and with not a whole lot of authority on it.
And I believe that's Wade Butel, who certainly is done for the night, and probably now is thinking about Toronto, but more importantly, thinking about the dressing room and a warm shower. Mark Skidmore trying the left side of that Calgary defensive line, and Kent Warnock, so big and strong, at 6'8", and he used all of it to engulf Mark Skidmore.
Yeah, he just stretched out and beat the offensive block and filled the off-tackle hole and stopped the play.
So it'll be 3rd down and 9 as we look into the Calgary Dinosaur dressing room. That is live, and that is number 14, Doug Peterson, who had a great punt return down to the 1-yard line, and he may be the happiest man right now because he's the only one in the dressing room. Hollins, and that one took hours to come down, and when it didn't come down where he wanted it. Dexton Blackstock moving over to kind of lay the hit on Danny Massey.
Well, Massey, the ball hit him in the hands, but like I said, the ball floated so much that the defensive man had a chance to get there very quick, and or get there by the time the ball did, and there was a little bit of a collision when the ball got there, and he couldn't hang on to it.
Sure that he wanted to hang on to it.
Oh yeah, that would have given the first down, I believe. I think they would have made it by about a yard there.
He'd probably like to do anything just to get out of there. It is bitterly cold. It's a frigid night in Calgary. Not really ideal football conditions. Football is a cold weather game, and they don't like to postpone it for any reason, but if there was a good reason, tonight was it. Rob Zimmerman, the ball carrier. And the word from Peter Cannellan, I'm sure, give the ball to Zimmerman and keep him in bounds and keep the clock going.
Well, the fans are having fun. I'm surprised that they stayed here, Michael, for the whole game, because I guess a few people have gone home, but it doesn't look like a whole lot. But I guess if you have the courage to come out to the game, you might as well have the courage to stick around and see it.
And what they saw, they loved. 55-14, the Calgary Dinosaurs leading the Carleton Ravens, and that's likely the way it'll be finished. Zimmerman being helped off the field. That's Rob McNabb. His big job really has been just to hand the ball off, and this time he pitches it out to Steve Posey, who's in to replace Zimmerman. And Posey does us a favor, stays in bounds, and gains about 1. It'll be 2nd down and 2. And they're not barbecuing at the bench. That's actually a heater. And you could probably hear the chant from the crowd, "We're number one." And, well, they're number one or number two, one or the other, because the Dinosaurs will go to the championship game of Canadian college football next week, the Vanier Cup in Toronto. The Calgary Dinosaurs making their second appearance in 3 years. And that is a nice long kick by Brent Maddock that will roll out of the end zone and will put the 56th point of the game on the board for the Calgary Dinosaurs.
Yeah, that was a heck of a kick there. What was that, about 60-yarder or something like that? 61 yards on that kick. That's just an outstanding kick. I can't believe his feet are warm. He's been standing on the sideline too long.
They do have those foot heaters, which I guess apply some kind of help, not a lot. Minute flag is up, and that has to be the prettiest sight of the night. 50 seconds to play. Carleton will scrimmage it, get a couple of plays in, and then probably call that. And we'll have a camera in the dressing room for you. And if we've got the time, we'll get some reaction from the Calgary Dinosaurs. Mark Brown, and you saw a couple of quick moves, but Brown, more than any other player, Tuffy, has kind of slid all over the place tonight.
Yeah, he made a good move there. He come up and did a little stutter step to the inside and broke to the outside and got an extra couple yards. He's going to be a good back. He's a young kid that needs to get a little stronger in the upper body and work on the weights a little bit in the off season, but he's got the talent and ability to become a great football player in CIAU.
Well, you see it counting down, and there isn't anybody here that doesn't want it to go quickly. 30 seconds to play. That's Brown, and that's Brown down in the backfield.
There was number 65 there. Ian James made an outstanding play there for Calgary. He just playing I think the defensive tackle or defensive end just hit and kind of slid right down the line of scrimmage and made a good play.
There have been a lot of strong plays from the Calgary defense, and maybe the defense has been more impressive than the offense, because the offense was really ignited by the specialty teams, and it has been really a total effort by this Calgary defensive team to shut out one of the best offenses in the country. In fact, if you consider Carleton's offense the past little while, they have been very, very efficient. And that will do it. The final play of the game. And it will finish 56-14. The Calgary Dinosaurs will go to the Vanier Cup. And Tuffy Knight predicted before the game a Calgary victory, so I guess you're not surprised.
Well, no, I'm not surprised. I'm surprised the score of what the score is, because I thought it would be a closer game, but I thought that Calgary might have had too much power for him and size, and obviously, you know, I was right, maybe for the first time this year.
Well, it was due to happen, and we'll take a short break, but still more to come from McMahon Stadium in Calgary. Dinosaurs happy. They're going to the Vanier Cup.
There is the final score, 56-14 in the Western Bowl 1985 edition from McMahon Stadium in Calgary, as the Dinosaurs and the Carleton Ravens shake hands after a tough game played under very trying conditions. The weather very cold, near minus 30 degrees Celsius in the game. As you see, a very happy group of Calgary players and fans and a good crowd on hand. Darcy Kopp has been named the most valuable player of the Western Bowl, and the presentation of the Western Bowl trophy. And a great finish to a great football season, at least to a great football game by the Calgary Dinosaurs, as they scored 45 unanswered points in the second quarter en route to the 56-14 victory. They will go on now to play either Western or Mount Allison in the Vanier Cup game next Saturday in Toronto. That ends TSN's coverage of Canadian intercollegiate football. It's been a pleasure for Michael Landsberg, Tuffy Knight, and I to be a part of it. And, of course, we'll be going to Edmonton for basketball next weekend, the Golden Bear Invitational Tournament, Saturday and Sunday, 4 o'clock and 2:30, respectively, are the starting times. Again, for all of the production and technical people, and for Michael Landsberg and Tuffy Knight, I'm Peter Watts saying good day from McMahon Stadium in Calgary.
Hello everyone, I'm Steve Cooney and this is Sports Desk on TSN. Coming up on the National Report, we've got scores and highlights from the NHL and NBA, Grey Cup news out of Montreal, an announcement on the future of the CFL's Montreal Concorde, World Cup golf highlights, a preview of the Australian Open, previews of some of Saturday's key U.S. college football matchups, and a feature on the top-ranked team in American college basketball. But first, let's start things rolling with some Canadian college football and highlights from the Western Bowl in Calgary, a game that was seen right here on TSN.
The game remained scoreless until the second quarter when Calgary's Darcy Kopp fields a punt at his own 35-yard line. He breaks it to the outside, and then he goes all the way for a 75-yard major and a 7-0 Calgary lead. And that was just a sign of things to come. Carleton had to punt again after their next possession, and this time the Dinos' Doug Peterson breaks a few tackles, and he returns the ball 66 yards to the Carleton 1. That led to the Dinosaurs' second major of the evening. The next time Calgary got the ball, Elio Jeremiah scored on a 10-yard run, and that put them ahead by 21 points. Following an interception, Jeremiah picked up his second touchdown on a 2-yard run. And then he completed the hat trick with a 57-yard touchdown romp. Jeremiah rushed for over 200 yards in the first half alone. At this stage, Calgary led 35-zip. Darcy Kopp had a spectacular night for Calgary as well. Here he returned his second punt for a major, this time for 58 yards, and it was 45-0 Dinosaurs at the half. Calgary cruised home from there to a 56-14 victory and a berth in next Saturday's Vanier Cup.